As I suspected, 32 flavors.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever, whenever you all are. Welcome to Clobby's Comic Shop, issue number 11. It feels good to say that. No renumbering, no legacy numbers. This is just the new series going forward. And I'm happy this is finally happening because, well, we got some guy who's going to be here for next hour. It's going to be good. We're going to talk fun comics because that's what we do on Clobby's Comic Shop. We talk about the good things, the fun things, because there's too much bad in the world. And you know what? We need to remind ourselves that there are awesome things out there. And, well, we have a gentleman here who has done a plethora, a giant, huge legacy of greatness. So let's acknowledge some faces really quick. Pop Culture Minefield. Oh, that's Geary. Backdoor Geary Kissel. What's up, Geary? Vulcan Liz, Madhouse Retro Gaming, Dave C, Stephen MTLL, 5 picoseconds, Vince Womack, Keely Chow, Tim Hayes, Conan the Barbarian by Crom, Keely Chow, and that's, we got 12 coming in. Killer. All right, more people coming in. All right, we're going to bring in our dudes because we ain't wasting no time. We're first start off with this guy. You guys know him. You love him. And as always, he introduces himself.
Howdy ho!
What's up, Pablo?
Dude, this week has been actually awesome to me because I cracked Magic the Gathering pack booster and 200 and something card randomly appears. There's more to the story, but today we are short on time, so I will just say it was really, really good look. And second booster came something really good, so I can't complain. I made my money back and then a lot more. So yeah.
Awesome. I love to hear that. Glad to have you here, sir. Let's have a good, solid Friday night. All right. Let's keep this streak going alive and strong. And of course, we have the Ice Wolf from the other side of the planet. What's going on, Fenrir?
I'm great. Pablo, you weren't here at the start before all this, so I kind of wanted to steal the whole audio thing right now and do it myself. But god damn it, you just had to show up in the final second. Son of a gun.
He's good like that.
I have
He's
nothing interesting
like
to open up with.
He's really slick like that. I feel like he almost does it deliberately. Don't you think, Fenrir?
Every
He does it deliberately.
time. With the damn Mexican snake.
Dude, the time management for a developer, right?
So, Fenrir, how you be doing, sir?
I've been doing good. It's been a calm week, which normally makes me a bit worried because that's the calm before the storm. So God only knows. If I end up showing up in the news with some chick who ended up beating me up to steal my house, I do not. Just don't be surprised because crap can happen. Every single time my life's calm, crap happens.
At least.
And there's the other piece of crap in my life. How are you there?
It's the common nerd, and he has quite the spiffy shirt. He's coming in with high class tonight. How's it going, the common nerd?
Good. Been a busy week. Freaking news has been crazy. Lots of things coming out, lots of things going on, lots of craziness out there. And then, of course, had baby was a little sick this week, so that wasn't too much fun. But they gave me an excuse to play out. I watched Legacy for 5 hours yesterday instead of covering the news, so you can't really complain about that too terribly much. And she had a good time. She was a great supervisor, so it worked out really nice. But yeah, excited to be back this week. Sorry I missed last week. We had a power outage and literally like we had a power line literally fall down like 3 blocks away from my house. The entire neighborhood went dark. It started a fire. It was a big, literally, it was right. An hour and a half into my show. We were already 5 hours of bonus time, and it was the whole thing just went.
My
neighbors, though.
There's this joke about Americans and power outages just going normal. In other countries, power outages happen. Everyone goes berserk.
First things go first. Did you see a DeLorean?
No, we were good there. No, it wasn't. Fortunately, there was only one power line down, not two. There was only one burn streak. There wasn't two. So no, unfortunately, DeLorean. I was very sad to say.
Oh,
very sad to say on that one.
Well, Common, I'm sorry that all that crazy has happened, but you live.
You're here.
Tell the tale of many tales. You have child number 900 on the way. You are, once again, your fertility is appreciative. And I think the chat all appreciates that fertility. And you know what? Let's enjoy tonight, because tonight is going to be special. It's going to be diabolical. It's going to be gigantic. I mean, seriously, it's going to be like huge. I mean, it's going to be like
Huge.
all right, guys, you've waited a few minutes. If you aren't somehow familiar with him, I mean, the guy's been involved in the industry for a long time. Like, I mean,
way before I was even born.
Runs of the Flash ever with Wally West. Obviously, a diabolical run with the Punisher. I think he was either the longest, if not the second longest run the Punisher ever. Obviously, classics like Nexus and Badger. And if you want to get to more tales of recency,
And a very fun Cape Crusader.
Florida Man, one of my absolute favorites. Gary Duba is one of my favorite characters, absolutely ever. And then, of course, you could talk about Gooding, the polymath from Rippaverse Comics, and, of course, even Smokes a Fox with our friend Justin Belmont. Ladies and gentlemen, which there's probably one lady, if not all dudes, welcome to Clobby's Comic Shop, Mr. Mike Barrett.
Clap your hands, ladies. Clap them well, loud and clear.
Live long and prosper indeed, man.
Yes, live long and prosper indeed. How are you, sir?
Doing good.
Awesome.
Mike, I don't know if you remember, but we've spoken before once. Stream last year. I don't know if you remember that. I mean, it was pretty quick and dumb, but so is most of the stuff I do. What can I complain?
I'm sure it happened, Fenrir.
I'm certain it was you. I mean, you're even following me on Twitter. I'm pretty sure it was you.
Where's my predator?
Sure, the next day I woke up in the middle of the desert with nothing but a pair of trunks, but I'm certain it was you, man.
That's a typical Saturday morning for Fenrir.
So we'll start with the usual, Mr. Mike.
God, I need help.
How you doing in your world? I know you're a very busy man, writing more. And from what I hear, you're even signing up on even more tasks. Like, how do you just keep going? Like this, this late in the game, and you're still like, I feel like you're as productive as ever, maybe even more so.
I am. Yeah, I've never been busier in my life. It's a surprise to me, but that's why I became a writer. And as you know, writers never retire, and opportunities keep opening up for me. And if I can squeeze them in, I'll do them. But most of the projects I'm working on, I created myself, like the books that we crowdfund at baroncomics.com. We're working on another Florida Man. We're working on Private American 2. We're working on Thin Blue Line 2. And the next project, which we're about to launch, hopefully before the end of this month, is going to blow your mind. It'll be very familiar and yet come as a complete shock.
Oh, now we're getting a tease tonight. I like it. Killer. All right. Awesome. So I've been wanting to have this chat with you since I back the very first Florida Man. What was it? 3 or 4 years ago? I think it was 2021. Maybe late. Maybe it was late 2020, early 2020. I can't remember when, but where did this whole inspiration for all this craziness start with Florida Man? Was it like something you're keeping up with, like on the news with the whole Florida Man craziness? Was it something you just always had about doing a crazy, funny story like this? What was the whole Florida Man thing? And how did Gary Duba come up? Was that a real life inspiration or just all from your imagination?
My stories choose me.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I went online, there was another Florida Man story, and you know the drill. A lot of them are a little sleazy. My favorite Florida Man headline is "Florida Man claims syringe found in rectum is not his."
Wait, what?
Oh man, my favorite one is the one about the guy feeding the gators.
And, there's a site dedicated to these stories. It's floridaman.com.
Yeah.
If you go there, they're all gathered there, and there are thousands and thousands. They say, take the Florida Man challenge. And that's, you go to your search engine, you put in your birthday and then you write Florida Man, and the headline will pop up that pertains to your birthday. And there will be several headlines for your birthday because by now there are thousands of Florida Man stories. However, I wanted to make a book that would make you laugh out loud, but I didn't want it to be sleazy or disgusting. So the trick is to make Gary Duba a
that's smart
sympathetic
comedy.
character. He's just a redneck living down by the swamp in a trailer. He likes to get high. He likes to get stoned. He's got a hair-trigger temper. He's been in and out of trouble with the law his whole life, but he's got a heart of gold, and he'll give you the shirt off his back. And that's why the book
Wait, I
succeeds.
haven't actually read yet. Does he have a banjo? Because he can't be a redneck without a banjo.
You can be a redneck without a banjo.
Yes, you absolutely can. So
go ahead.
Go ahead. Finish your thought.
Most rednecks do not have banjos.
Oh, well, there you go. Most rednecks have banjos.
That can't be possible. If so, then TV's been lying to me for years.
So have you actually seen a real life Florida Man incident? Because I actually have a friend who did see one in real time, and I'll share that story once I hear if you have had one or not.
No, not really. You know, half the incidents that you see in the book and in the graphic novels are based on true stories, and half just come out of my own head.
Okay. Awesome. I like it. So a buddy of mine, so he saw a Florida Man incident, and the irony of it is that it didn't happen in Florida, but it was from a guy who happened to be from Florida. So there was this death metal band, and they're called Morbid Angel, and they're from Florida. They've been around for like 30, 40 years. And my friend saw their guitar player outside, walking outside of a 7-Eleven with a fishing rod and a pizza by the slice from a 7-Eleven. And he sees it take out the slice of pizza, and he attaches it to the fishing rod. And guess what he tries to do? He tries to have the rats go after it out on the streets of Baltimore. I was like, you saw a real life Florida Man incident.
Well, you know about Pizza Rat, don't you?
No, what's Pizza Rat?
Well, first it started as a video in New York City, and it showed just a rat dragging a slice of pizza up a stairs. And then
that's just Splendor.
And then a guy dressed up as a rat and started dragging a piece of pizza up the stairs, and just making fun of it. I wish I could find that video. Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, if you can find it, if you can share it, I will welcome.
I remember when that meme went around too. Well, it wasn't a meme; it was an actual picture of the rat running off with a slice of pizza. Yeah, and I was like, look, we finally found Master Splinter.
I just tried the Florida Man challenge.
Wasn't it also proven that the rat actually brought the pizzas for a bunch of turtles?
Here it is. I'm putting it in your X, in messages in X. There it is.
All right.
There you go.
I did the Florida Man challenge, and it did not disappoint. For my birthday is Florida Man killed the alligator with his knife and later tried to sell his meat.
I put mine in the chat.
So, Pizza Rat Man goes viral. Now you can meet him. Okay, let's watch this video.
Pizza delivery ain't what it used to be. Pizza Rat Man is a reincarnation of a certain real rat celebrated by late night.
The internet blew up. Oh.
Wow, that was real.
Dude, that is great.
Oozing, then pouncing on the Brooklyn Bridge.
Oh my God.
Cruising Minnie Mouse in Times Square. Grabbing at a
Hey, somebody call Mickey. His wife's cheating on him again.
Having his own tail grabbed.
Oh, that is gold.
I swear, thank God for the internet, man.
No.
It's a gift that keeps on giving.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. God bless the internet. Oh, man.
The tail, by the way, is attached to a belt worn under his clothes and threaded through a hole in his pants. Who is this masked rat man?
Everybody, I'm Jonathan Lyons, the creator of Buddy the Rat.
Put the mask on.
Put it back on. Put it back on.
Yeah.
Without the mask, no one cares, man. Just keep it on.
Oh,
that's great.
wow, that was amazing.
Oh, that is great. That is great. Holy cow.
Oh, thank you, Mike.
I swear, this world is full of things that will make you laugh. You just need to look.
Oh, yeah. Never a dull moment. Never
Wow.
a dull moment.
That was absolutely that got Friday night started off huge.
Like last year, I was actually bored. This is an extra story about Florida. I was actually bored last year. I found this story online about a kid who stole his high school's flag and went on a run with it. He escaped the Florida police for about 3 hours straight and only got caught when he needed to stop at a Burger King to take a dump.
Sounds very shitty.
Yeah, it
Never
was.
go to Burger King.
Never go to Burger King. Oh, oh, wow.
Florida is a beautiful place of insane psychos I would love to share a beer with.
I went there once, and one of the times, and I didn't see any incident, but I did experience a great Cuban coffee cafe, and it was awesome. Their coffee is really good. The Cubans make great coffee, and I would absolutely recommend it. So they don't do that light stuff. They go for the full jolt. To me, that should be standard for coffee. Like, if I'm going to have coffee, that should be like the least that you can do is give me a coffee that makes me feel like I can jump off a building and live.
Okay, here's a new cover.
Yeah, that's the power of Cuban coffee.
Oh, go ahead, Mike.
Cover for Florida Man. It's going to be in stores. I don't know when it's going to be in stores. Soon.
Soon.
Put out by American Mythology.
Okay.
Hang on a second. Come on.
No,
there it is.
Did you DM it to me?
Yeah, I put it in the X DM.
X DMs. Okay.
How to do it.
All right.
Challenged.
Ooh. Oh yeah. the with the Kill Bill looking outfit.
Yeah, Matt Weldon art.
Yes. I so I'm assuming then you must definitely be a fan of Kill Bill if you went with that outfit, because that's literally, especially Volume 1. That's probably my favorite of the Tarantino movies.
Well, I do like Tarantino. I'm not a huge Kill Bill fan. I think that Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is his best movie. But Matt probably chose that design. It's fine with me. I mean, it's suitable for Crystal's character because she's a professional wrestler now.
Oh, yeah, Steely Daniel. Well, I love that you went with the Steely Daniel.
Because you can't say her real name, right?
Oh, we can say her real name, Black Dildo. Oh, we're
That's
saying
it.
You can go
Black Dildo.
Yeah, we can say Black Dildo. Dude, I've read, because like I've read the first book a handful of times, and I've read the second volume probably like a dozen times, and I have so much fun with these characters. Even the characters outside of Gary are funny. Once again, like Crystal, Habib Rodriguez is great too. I think Habib is so sleazy. I was like, wow, this guy's scummy, but he's fun.
Yeah, well, he's based on lawyers, real lawyers that I see advertising around here. But I mean, physically, he's Hank Williams Jr. I don't know if you picked up on that, but he's patterned
I did
after
not,
Hank.
but I do know who Hank Williams Jr. is, though. So I do actually catch that now that you mentioned it. I can see where you're getting at from that. Okay. Wow, I didn't expect to think of Hank Williams, but no, that's cool, man. I like that he went with Hank Williams for that. Killer.
Before we go on, I just wanted to say it's really funny that people go for Kill Bill whenever they see that suit instead of Bruce Lee.
Oh yeah, that's true. Bruce
Lee
did on the suit. Yeah, that's true. He did. And maybe that, even though I've watched Bruce Lee movies, Enter the Dragon, The Way of the Dragon, it should have occurred to me first because I've seen those first before I've seen the Kill Bill. But I guess, when we see yellow suit and, long-haired lady, you can't help but think of, especially being a younger lad.
She's definitely thicker than Uma Thurman.
But I think he jumps the shark too often in too many of his movies, but not Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which I consider a masterpiece.
Wow. See, I feel like I love Volume 1. That's my favorite. But I feel like Volume 2 kind of like derails things a bit. That's why I feel like it kind of falters off for me, which is weird for me. But, I'm sure we all have our taste on that. Man, no, that's awesome that you got. So are we going to see more Leotis?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there are 3 novels out. And Leotis features prominently in the second 2. What is the third novel called? It's called Catfish Calling. and Leotis is on the cover. If you go to Amazon, they're all available on Amazon. And the novels are so much more than the comic, because the comic is limited space, and you have to respect the form and not overload it. But in a novel, you got a lot of room to stretch out, and so there's a lot more going on.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm going to read the novels next because you've got me very curious with this world of very fascinating characters: Leotis, Habib, Crystal, Gary. It's a great gang. It's got the mayhemic fun of Scooby Doo.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you, man. I mean, it's crazy that you could still be so inventive at the wheel. And once again, you say your story shows you. I think that's why you still continue to still be inspired to this day, and it shows. So let's before we transition over to a great series of Mr. Mike's. I just want to say for everyone in the chat who's got them, and there's no obligations here, Mike. This is just something we do. It's tradition, basically. But we best basically do a salute. So this one's to you for joining us tonight. So to all of you in the chat, let's give this one up to Sir Mike. We salute you, sir. Drink them if you got it. If you're straight edge, that's cool too. Cheers.
Here. Where? There.
Oh, where we're
live with us.
So,
oh yeah, Mike, I gotta personally thank you for something. You were responsible for ruining my innocence as a child, and I cannot thank you enough for that, man. The Badger Saves the World was one of my first books growing up, and that first issue, god damn it, it got me alive. To this day, it sticks with me, that joke of Hillary Clinton's black heart. Surely that is a timeless. The Badger Saves the World.
Badger Saves the World, he said.
Oh, Badger.
Yeah, he said Badger Saves. He's from the other side of the country, so he's a little muffled from where he is. Luckily, I've heard it enough so I can actually understand.
You mean the novel?
You can enter.
No, the book, the comic book.
Well, I'm not. I'm losing you, Fenrir. Are you losing me? See if you can
The
find
Badger, the damn poster's right behind you, man.
Oh, let me see.
Badger.
That Badger?
Yeah, but I mean that's the cover. It's a recreation of the first cover that Jeff Butler ever did for me. Jeff did that as well.
Yeah, but there were other books. I read that book as a kid. It was one of the funniest experiences I had growing up, and one of the things that made me want to drive into the position of comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you.
From the joke with the black heart to get to cutting a damn fisherman in half with a chainsaw. That was hilarious.
Well, we're working on a massive new Badger graphic novel. It's written. We're just trying to schedule it and find an artist.
Oh.
Great. Just really wanted to say thanks for everything, man.
You're welcome.
Don't quit up your job.
More to come.
Good.
Nice.
So about now some of your more license-based properties. Obviously, you
also, I just want you to know that you've inspired your competition because one day I'll come for you.
Hey, that's good. Competition brings out the best of us. Gooding the Polymath you did recently. You worked with Will Conrad recently, which I thought was a really good pairing. You two really link up very well together. I really liked. I liked what he had done a few years ago. Prior to me hopping off DC, he did a really cool issue of Hawkman that I enjoyed. And he's currently actually doing Flash Gordon with Jeremy Adams at Mad Cave. And and I was like, oh, this actually makes a really good pairing. And it's funny how Will gets to do two blonde-haired characters in a row between the two. And is Will a guy that you hope to be working with? Should there be more? Yeah, Will be the go-to guy. Okay, awesome. Now, did you get to go through a lot of the, I guess you could say, Iron Man-like, techniques? Did you get to come up with all that, or were you given like a blueprint of how to lay out this character?
No, that story's completely out of my own head.
Okay, killer, awesome. No, because I like it because there feels like, I mean, I don't know if you saw a different influence, but for me got a little bit of an Iron Man thing going out of it because to me, the guy's really smart. He's very ambitious. He's a go-getter, and he definitely except he's Tony Stark without as much of the cockiness because obviously he's a lot more caring of a gentleman. Obviously, he loves his girlfriend Gina that her name Gina Adams?
It is, and you're going to be seeing a lot more of her in the next one.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, so we are getting another one. Yay!
I was gonna say, yeah, right. Sweet. Okay.
When you say you will see a lot more of her, do you mean like a lot more of her or a lot more of her in the page?
I prefer the primer instead of the latter, by the way. I mean, the latter is good too, but the primer would be it's a moneymaker. It's got to be smart.
Outside of Gooding, do you have anything that you're presenting that's, let's just say, of your own nature, the same way Chuck and Joe are? You don't like to say, I know you don't have to give names. I know you have to maintain the NDA thing, but that's cool. You get to run wild. Does it feel kind of like different to work on a
I'm
license?
Introducing a whole bunch of new characters.
Oh, a whole bunch. Whoa. Okay.
Hell yeah.
So that's gotta be fun, because usually when you're working with a company that is more of an established, IP, you get to create some characters, but there's still some, I guess you could say, limitations. But it seems like he's letting you go Florida Man and run wild with your creativity. So it feels like you're almost becoming the Florida Man, just going crazy with your creative ideas. That's gotta be kind of releasing, because not everyone who works in like let's just say a big two gets to do that. So that's got to be gratifying for you.
It is.
Nice.
And by the way, I'm going to be in San Antonio in October for Space Fest. The Rippaverse will be there. So if you're in the area, come on down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm like 2.5 hours from San Antonio, so I very much plan on making it there.
Great.
Yeah, man.
Looking forward to seeing you.
Yeah, that'll be dope. I'm so excited. Yeah, hell yeah. Oh, sorry. I'm super. I'm stoked for that, because that's what I love about having so many of us in Texas now. It's like we're gonna start having a lot more of these events like within driving distance. Like, because I made it to the Vegas one,
Get me an
that was a little bit
dude.
of a haul for me, and so like being able to, I will. And so like having everybody in Texas now, like it's like in driving distance, I'm like, yes, we're gonna have so much more fun. It's great. I love it. Because I'm actually in Eric July's old college stomping grounds, which is funny. I actually know I know his track coach. Like,
wow.
Yeah, like we met through some of our extracurricular activities, and then I was telling him about like Eric July and the Rippaverse and like what they were doing in the interviews. He's like, Eric July. He's like, tell him Coach Flanagan says hi.
Wow. It's all
he holds like 3 or 4 track records literally like right down the street from my house, man, for the college. Yeah, it's freaking I love it.
Save that stuff. It can cost some money in the future.
I love it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so
seriously, dude, don't screw me over like you did with Timothy Zahn.
Common, you got anything you want to ask about Gooding and all that? Because I can imagine, you definitely want to say, hey.
It's one of them situations where, because I read the book through, and it was one of those, I knew this was going to be one of the slightly shorter one than some of the others too. And now knowing, and it's like, it's one of those other things too. It's like now knowing that there's going to be more coming, because that's what the thing was. I loved the book; it was good, but it was one of them situations where it left me wanting more. I want to know more about it and all that kind of stuff.
It blows my mind when people say that, because it's one of the longest graphic novels I've ever written. But I don't compress, I don't think I'm cheating the reader of any story, but when I look at Chuck's graphic novels, they often go over 100 pages. And one of the reasons is he seldom uses more than 4 panels per page. And he will often use only 2 panels per page. And I have an aversion to doing that, and I should lose the aversion. And I'm going to space it out more for the next one. When Chuck's doing it, he knows what he's doing, because those panels have big impact. But a lot of my storytelling are quiet moments where I let the characters breathe. In fact, I often will put in a scene of them just not talking and smoking a cigarette.
Or hashish.
Yeah, well, I noticed your characters have a lot of those quiet moments, like whether it's you see Kato having his moments of, making the next move in his life with Gina, or you could see even the rise of Splatterpuss coming up. It was funny how you had the diametrically opposing viewpoints. One went to college, the other did time in military. both had big career promotions, if you will, simultaneously, and you get to see them build from that, and it feels like that's what you're doing rather than having go all guns blazing with that type of thing. You're letting these stories really flourish. You're basically creating a garden and letting it blossom over time.
Yeah, and I have to absorb an enormous amount of story to keep it all integrated into the universe, because Chuck's written 2 massive graphic novels. I can't tell you the names because of the NDA, but they fit right in with the whole Rippaverse.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Now, since you mentioned that Gooding was for you, that was the longest story that you've written. Do you plan on having your stories being even shorter going forward, or do you think you're going to keep the format going? Because that's the standard.
I'm going to stretch them out. People want more. I'm going to give them more. And that doesn't mean I'm going to water it down and make it thinner. It means I'm going to add more story.
Oh, so you're just going to add more meat to the bone. That's all. That's good, because we don't need to have something that's being dragged out and say, oh man, this could have worked if this was. It's kind of like when you see like a newer show of some sort that's not good, and it's like 9 or 10 episodes or even 13. You're like, this could have been a good idea if this was 6 or 7. We don't need that.
And that's one of the kind of things I kind of felt with Gooding. I think being able to having his, I guess, arch nemesis, rival, whatever you want to consider it, having to tell both of those stories in the same book, it felt like you could have easily doubled the size of that book and fleshed out both of those stories a lot more than what the kind of the compact story that you had there. And that's one of the things, that's what I said, I kind of left it feel like I wanted more, because I felt like there was a lot more story that could have been told there. And it just felt like having both of them come in there, it was just a little too much on the short. So like I said, I'm excited to hear that there's going to be another book and that we'll get more meat to those bones.
There's a lot more on both.
Good.
Splatterpuss almost felt like it was almost like a low key Splatterpuss story in a way as well, because it was just as much about him as it was about Kato, which I thought cool because it really made him effective. And I noticed something too: you were able to give him depth, but not make us feel sorry for him. Nowadays, it almost feels like it's become like a all too overdone trope where they give a character background, and it's always now done with an angle feeling bad for him. This guy just straight up wants to hurt people, and you know more about it. And the more you know about him, the more you want him. You want to punch him in the face, which I feel like that should be the standard.
That's how you should always do villains.
Yeah, he's a good quality villain, because you do that. You even see that opportunity, like I think it was when he's in the military and somebody else is like talking about something why I don't like the hurting or the killing or whatever it was, and he's like, no, I love that, and it's like, yeah, no, like this guy's literally just a fucking monster. Like that's what he is. Like
about what their goals are.
Yeah.
One guy says, I want to help people, and they say, and what about you, Hodges? He says, I want to kill people.
Yeah. And it's just that's his character, and that's it. And like, that's beautiful. Like Fenrir said, it's nice seeing that kind of thing. Just seeing a straight villain be a straight villain. Like I was talking about the new Transformers books today, and like how like they're straight villains. Like there's no redeeming quality. It's like they're just straight villains and will just
literally murder people.
Yeah, and like that's I'm like, I love that about him. It's like
shits and giggles.
Yeah, and so that's what I liked about him. He was like, I just want to kill people. I'm like, I can respect the villain that's just like, I'm just evil. Like, okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm sick and tired of every villain being sad because of mommy or daddy or some crap of life, or just because the world wasn't fair to me, something like that. Screw that. Yeah. I want badasses who I want to beat up or fear.
Badass. I know it's a small thing, and I don't know if it was something that you intended to do, or if it was something that Will Conrad did. You notice when you read, whether it's most comics or most shows or movies, anytime there is a story that starts off when characters are younger, a lot of the characters, let's say this is a small thing, where when you see them younger, they have a habit where they keep them having the same exact look and hairstyle up until they get a little older. And I remember growing up when I was a kid, and let's just say I didn't look the way then that I do now. And it's like, people do change.
I see a mohawk for some reason.
Splatterpuss actually did change his look, which, most movies, they always have them have. I get that they want the viewer to understand, so you know who is who from their kid. But I always feel like that's kind of underestimating the knowledge of the viewer, because I feel like viewers are not stupid, and people who want to get lost in a story, they'll catch on if they're paying attention. And with Splatterpuss, he started off as this guy who had a head full of brown hair, and then as he went on, he became this muscle-bound, bald-headed dude with basically tattoos all over his head, like he almost looks like Kerry King from Slayer. And I'm just like, holy crud, that's quite the evolution there.
Thanks.
No, it's cool because you don't see that often. You just, and I don't know if that was you or Will but I like that was happening, because nowadays it feels like they have to have the characters look the same from when they're young till they're older. I mean, we all had, most people, I'm sure whether it's a friend of yours, family relative, they have some different stages of their appearances as they went from younger to older, and we forget that in fiction that they can have their changes too, and Splatterpuss is no different.
We have a Buddy McGill graphic novel in the works. Who? I'll show you.
Yeah, please.
Hey, I'll say what? Who?
Shall
Buddy
I check?
McGill.
Buddy McGill.
He's the James Bond of dogs.
Ooh, okay, you got my attention.
The first one were published by Advent, but very few people saw it. There it is. There's the cover of the first book. This book is guaranteed to make you burst out laughing. Guaranteed.
Okay, I got it right now. Now, is this going to be put out for a campaign this year?
No, it's my pipeline is fairly jammed.
Nice.
We got the next project. I don't want to announce it.
That's fine.
Yeah, and then we got 2 more Nexus projects in the works. And then, as I said, Thin Blue Line and Private American. But Thin Blue Line is probably going to be delayed just because my artists are so busy.
Mm-hmm.
Private American will probably surface before then. And when you read this new Private American, your heads will explode with delight.
Okay. Good. I'm going to make sure I order that, because that's one of the ones I still haven't read yet, because I have yet to read Private American and Bronze Star. And I got one of the coupons for when I got my copy of Nexus, Scourge. So I'm going to make sure I use that coupon when I order both of those books. And
and Bronze Star too is in the works.
There you go, fact, Vulcan. It's coming.
Let me show you. Pat is doing the best work of his career, which is phenomenal.
Dude, his art is killer. His art is so killer. Now, I can tell, obviously, it's cool to see you doing a Western, because it reminds me of Razorfist, who obviously had his absolutely awesome Ghosts of the Badlands. And I'm just like, okay, we got Westerns coming up, and they're coming in hot.
Yeah, I got Ghosts of the Badlands. It's an excellent book.
Dude, right? It is so freaking good. And George Alexopoulos' art on there is so killer. And I love, because his story really, like, you can maybe interpret as, is the ghost the main character, or is the guy with the one hand the main character? It feels like a duality type of thing. And I love it. You can interpret it both ways, whoever is the main character. But it's cool that we got this Western thing going on. So what are the Westerns that inspired Bronze Star? I got to ask, because this looks insane.
I'm huge Western freaks, and I've seen hundreds and hundreds of Westerns. I love the genre. In a sense, they were inspired by many different films, The Fugitive, On the Run, but also in another sense, I try to be original and come up with my own ideas. Mm-hmm. When I wanted to work with Pat for years, and I said, Pat, what do you want to draw? And he said, I want to draw a supernatural Western. Yes. So I started thinking about it. Mm-hmm. And I thought of the werewolf angle and how I could make that intriguing and different. And if you've read the book, you know how I did it. Mm-hmm. But the kicker is the werewolf is not the greatest supernatural threat that's in the book.
Because that, if I'm not mistaken, that's a Wendigo, or at least something very similar to one in that particular page.
This is from the next Bronze Star.
Okay,
this is from Bronze Star 2. And you're right, It's a Wendigo.
Oh, yeah. I know lots about that mythology. Especially living in the Southwest and stuff. Oh, yeah.
This is full on savagery. No, Pat Broderick is absolutely killer. I'm glad you were able to maintain him for this book, because this looks so. I'm excited for this.
Well, it's the greatest work of his career, and Pat just loves it. He thinks it's the greatest work of his career too.
Nice, man. Man, no, man, Vulcan. No, it does look absolutely freaking rad. I'm excited about this. I mean, it's crazy because especially nowadays we got westerns coming out. Like because of this Ghost of the Badlands. I did a Western month on my Tuesday show, which is called Toxic Tuesday. It's basically where we have the most anti-PC takes on movies, and we did a Western month. And Gary, who I know Gary Kissel.
Yeah.
He's pretty much a weekly panelist on that. We went over, we covered for this month. We did The Outlaw Josie Wales. We did The Magnificent Seven, John Wayne True Grit as well. And now we're already talking about the next Western month we want to do for next year. It feels like the Western bug is starting to have a Spider-Man like effect on us all. Now we're kind of all bitten by it. Now we're getting right back into it. It feels like there may be a little bit of a future again for the Westerns, especially nowadays.
Well,
you got
I'd like
Yellowstone
to recommend two Westerns that most people have never seen.
I'm listening.
Oldana's Raid, starring Burt Lancaster, and Valdez is Coming, starring Burt Lancaster. Both of those are exceptional Westerns. Great, great movies. Okay. They're going to blow your mind if you've never seen them, especially Oldana's Raid.
Okay, no, I'm excited because I'm always looking for new stuff to enjoy. Like I'm one of those guys where, even even as time has gone in my life, I'm always curious to know what have I missed that's out there, whether it's a movie or show.
Right. I put them in the chat.
Oh, thank you. Okay, I'm gonna screenshot that because I'm excited about that because I watched for my first time. I finally got on Hell on Wheels with what's that guy's name?
Yeah, that's a good show.
I finished the first season, which I really enjoyed. God, Anson Mount, that dude is a superb talent, and then he's got what the tall guy with the pale skin who's one of the villains in this show. I'm trying to think. God, it's getting lost on me. But regardless, Hell on Wheels is really killer. I'm like, great. Now I want to watch Deadwood. Like now, it's just like
Deadwood is great.
Oh, I know. Dude,
I love Deadwood because of the dialogue.
Oh yeah,
it elevates cursing to an art.
With a name like Deadwood, you'd expect that.
Thank you, Vulcan Liz. He knew exactly what time. The Swede, that guy. He's one of those guys. Like after one episode, he's a good actor, and when the villain makes you want to punch him in the face, that means that actor is doing his job. I want to punch that guy in the face. I was like, bastard. Hit you. Oh no, the Swede. Yeah, no, I love that show, and I get on the second season. Now I'm gonna get so used to westerns and the way their stories are paced that I'm gonna get into other things. And I'm like, hold up, why is the story not having a build? Because westerns have a thing of taking their time and not just going pedal to the metal right away, which is fine. I'm good with it. Now I gotta unwire myself from it. So no, that's great. What are some of your top westerns then? Since I know you're a movie guy. So
The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance.
Okay.
Number 2, Shane.
I've seen Shane. I love Shane.
Number 3, The Wild Bunch.
I have not seen The Wild Bunch.
Oh.
Okay. You're like, what?
It's different. And that's one of the charms that, a lot of these movies, the theme is this. In fact, all three of those movies, the theme is the closing of the West and how civilization encroaches and hobbles men who are not used to law and order. But some of my other ones are Magnificent Seven, of course, is on my list.
So good. Great cast on that. Duke McQueen, Charles Bronson. I mean, so who's who?
I like The Professionals with Lee Marvin.
Like The Professionals.
And Burt Lancaster again.
Yeah. Oh, man. No, that's freaking awesome. No, I definitely love me those. God, I just lost my train. Oh, you know what movie kind of functioned a little bit like a Western in terms of the way the story was told a little bit? And I know you've mentioned on some streams, which I've caught wind of, you've talked about The Equalizer 3. If you think about it, in some ways it kind of plays out like a Western.
Disappointing. You guys named a lot of great Westerns, but avoided the greatest of them all.
Well,
The Man with No Name.
The Man with No Name. Well, I like The Man with No Name, but Equalizer 3, Denzel Washington, obviously he comes to town like a guy does in a Western movie. He adapts to the culture around the area, and then bad guys pop up, and it's just like, man, I was just trying to get acclimated to what's going on in this area, and now
What
you're
movie
ruining
is
my
that?
good time. Equalizer 3. It has it functions like a Western in a way. Obviously, there's no
Equalizer
cowboy
3
hats.
is a masterpiece.
Thank you. Because when you said that, I can't remember what stream you said that, but when you mentioned how good it was, in my head, I watched it and I'm like, this movie almost is like a Western in the way the story is portrayed. Once again,
It
guy
is.
comes to town,
That's right.
and he adapts to the culture,
Very
loves
much
the
so.
culture. He's trying to live out his best days because he's getting up there. Robert McCall's getting up there in age, and then there's a bunch of gangbangers like, I'm trying to get homie here. And now you guys are ruining my good time. Now I have to kill all of you. I'm just like, and Denzel Washington being a bad guy never gets old. I mean, the guy is obviously, he's the cream of the crop. Like Macho Man Randy Savage once said, I am the cream. Oh, yeah. So, no, seriously, it's so freaking good. I saw it in theaters, and I was just like, oh, man. Seeing him kick ass one last time. Woo!
Claude reminds me of Lonesome Dove, which is another classic Western. This one played out on television, but it's brilliant.
Lonesome Dove. Okay, I've not seen that one.
My
Okay.
grandmother and grandfather loved Lonesome Dove. I've seen all of that.
I
My grandfather
am
was big on
literally writing that one down right now.
Mike, do you ever? I doubt. Do you play video games much at all? It was funny because you mentioned one of your favorite parts about a lot of your favorite Westerns was like the Wild West where like civilization starting to encroach. And that just made me instantly think of Red Dead Redemption, because that's exactly what happens to that main character in there. He's an outlaw trying to live a good life, but then his past catches up to him, and it's like the big city folks, and they're coming. It's the federal lawmen coming to get him in like a car, and like, you know, everybody else still running around on horses and stuff. And I thought that's a universe
it's
you would like.
Uniquely American theme.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you had literal two societies butting up against each other at the exact same time, and the conflict.
I think that's a universal theme.
Well, yes and no, but the United States, the new land, the new property here, that had never been experienced before until Europeans discovered North America. And of course, the Indians were there.
No, I'm talking about the passing of time, of how older generations get surpassed by the development of society and all that.
Well, right, but we're talking about like the societal conflict between having, you know, the Eastern quote unquote civilization pushing its way out into the West, and like that's something you could see in real time, technology encroaching, which is something you'd never seen. In,
plus
like,
the Japanese taking over the kids' entertainment. You guys lost.
That one.
We lost.
Not that one, bro.
The Japanese won. They run the world's television now. So they technically run the world.
With manga being a thing, yeah, it's got the mainstream thing. For me, though, I mean, maybe this comes being as part of, I guess you could say, a metalhead. I've never really saw the need that we have to be number one. And as far as what that makes me, I look at is there an audience there that keeps you going? And to me, that's the thing that matters most. If you happen to be popular at that point in time, hey, that's great. That's gravy. But if you have an audience there that you're maintaining and they're happy and they're coming back for more, that's fine. And comics has kind of been in that way where there's an audience there. And yeah, manga's got a lot of the youngins. Hopefully some of those youngins, there'll be a select few to be like, oh, hey, what else is out there? What's on the American side of things? And maybe they'll look past what's on the surface, aka current year big two, and look into what's going on the underground side of things. And like, oh, hey, this looks cool. Oh, what's this?
Well, and that's going to happen too, because there's always a big segment of the next generation coming up that want to be the rebels, right? They want to go against what everybody else's grain is, and we're living in such an early, iron age, right? But we're getting to a point now. We're getting to a goal. We're looking at the future of a golden age of independent comic books, right? The decentralization of the whole system,
and novels too.
And novels too, yeah, as well. And even to a certain degree, certain television shows and movie productions as well. But like, especially with comics, you see that decentralization. And now you've got this golden era of that, where you've got all of these artists out there that are no longer locked into these major corporations because of crowdfunding and because of instantaneous reach with your audience and all this other kind of stuff. They can go out there and, greats like Mike Barron and everybody else can go out there and they can do these incredible works that they would have never been able to do under DC or Marvel like that. And so now we're going to have this renaissance of all of these amazing independent comics. That's stuff we've never seen before in stories and in genres we haven't seen in decades, if ever, and in these new independent great ways. And these kids are going to find these because we're making sure that all of this stuff goes afloat. We're the reason why Rippaverse is $1 million company. We're the reason why all of these campaigns hit hundreds of thousands of dollars and stuff like that. And so these books are going to be around there, and that's going to be a generational shift. Those of us that were into this stuff and then got into all of this indie stuff now that as it's blossoming is going to pass that down to the next generation, honestly, in some cases, whether they like it or not. And they're going to find this stuff, and we're going to see a resurgence. It's just not, I hope we never see another DC and Marvel in the size and scope, the behemoth monopoly that they once were at one point.
No, the real danger is that they're going to disappear completely. And there are many reasons for that. And the main reason that nobody ever discusses is the rise of video games,
corporate slaves,
and the fact that we have a generation of kids who just don't read.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a big problem.
That's sad, but very true. But there are a few kids who actually want to read and enjoy it. I've met a couple in projects to share books, and some of them are actually surprised with old school comics and novels and how fun they are compared to the old generation. It's not that most don't want to read. It's just that they don't really find a lot of things directly that are good to read.
Well, that's true. But, also, the second reason is that Marvel and DC are no longer in the entertainment business. No. They're in the agenda business.
No, they're just IP farming and agenda.
Yeah. I got two daughters. They both absolutely love to read, especially my older one. Like, she loves Dogman. She has all the books. The youngest, she has Cat Kid Comic Club. She loves that. And I see it as, okay, they understand the comic format at least to a point now. Hopefully, eventually, when they get older, whether they go the way of manga or American in the underground sense, they're going to expand their horizons because now they're like, okay, well, I grew up on Dogman or so-and-so. What else is out there? And I'm glad because Aria, my oldest, like her and her friends, I see their stacks of books, and there's Aria stacks. Aria stacks, she can't even keep it together. It's like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Oh, and that's an always thing. That's an always thing, which is great. So she's only 10, and she's hitting the ground running for 4 or 5 years. Sometimes I have to check her in to make sure she didn't fall asleep on a book. That's how bad it is. Yeah. Good problem to have. Good.
I was
good problem, Dad. Problem to have.
Well, and
I love
that's
it.
one of the other things. That's one of the things I like to do is because we try to go to cons, we try to go to the con down here, especially every year, and that's what I do. I give my kid $10 and go hit up the dollar comic bins. Everybody gets $10. Everybody gets 10 comics. You go hit up the dollar bins and you get to take those home. And now we've got a little thing now where like the last hour before bedtime, no electronics, just reading and stuff like that. And they got a fat stack of comics to get through. So hell yeah. You can't make it happen.
We used to have comics as a good gateway to get kids into actually reading novels, going for books. For example, Sir, I know you work on Star Wars. You work on Dark Force Rising, and that's an adaptation of Timothy Zahn. So a lot of kids got the comic, got into the story, and then they got the novels. And that's how a lot of fans for the EU started, just by picking up the comic, getting an incomplete story because, let's be honest, Dark Horse was not really that good on completing every single story. But they got into the novels, and through the novels they got into the best stuff for Star Wars for a long time, other than obviously the main movies.
I adapted Timothy Zahn's novels, which are some of the best Star Wars stories ever made. They'd be smart to adapt those into the film, but Star Wars has committed ritual seppuku. It's dead.
No, it's beyond seppuku. It's more
like
like
Marvel and DC, entertainment is no longer on the menu.
Nope.
The menu is thrusting their ridiculous politics down people's throats, and that's not what entertainment is about. Entertainment is job one. And you have to remember that every time you set pen to paper or pencil to paper, your job is to entertain. If you don't entertain, you can't deliver a message. If you do entertain, you can deliver a message, but entertainment comes first. And I always look at To Kill a Mockingbird and The Grapes of Wrath, which are two fantastic books that entertain and bring to light serious social issues.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you mentioned that because I talked to my local comic retailer. He's had his shop for about 30 years now. And we talked about how Denny O'Neil had Green Arrow, Green Lantern. and he had both sides of the spectrum having their sides of the argument. And that's good because it shows you, yeah, you can present those types of things, but the entertainment factor is still the first thing that comes first and foremost. Now, the politics side is supposed to be
although the
like,
green skin stuff was pretty dumb. This is coming from a black guy.
But yeah, I know. But look at this comic like a burger, and the entertainment is like the meat and maybe the bread, but the politics aspect is like the condiment. It's the condiment on the burger. It's not the main basis of the burger. It's the condiment. It's the ketchup or mustard or mayo, whatever it is that you like.
Denny was my editor, and he wrote before he became an editor, so he understood storytelling.
Yeah, he always came across to me like maybe a left of center hippie, but who'd still prioritize storytelling. You tell me. I mean, you tell me if I'm wrong. If I am, I'm wrong. I'm just guessing. That's just what he came across to me as someone who's.
I interviewed Denny, and you know something. He said something that I'd like to repeat to you.
Sure.
Hang on a second.
Yeah, no, I would love to hear it because I absolutely respect his body of work. I mean, whether it was with stuff like The Shadow or with stuff at DC, the guy was an absolute legend. Well, you're getting that going. I'm going to acknowledge the super chat from Brett Cohen. I think that's an Australian $5. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Nick, respect. GGG's days, baby. A loss, a love, and glad you respect the man. Made big ups. This is later than it should be. XOXO.
Here it is.
Thank you for being here, sir. Appreciate the super chat. All right, Mike.
Denny said, I sometimes wonder if 60s liberals didn't create the atmosphere for today's extreme politics and name calling.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of truth of that. The hippies became basically the big
college teachers and
yeah, exactly the guys behind the big corporations, the guys that run everything, and they basically created their dream. Everybody can live forever happy with all the money in the world because they don't have any. And there's a couple of guys that distribute just a small crumbs so you can get enough to live. And you are supposed to be
and every
happy,
day on
right?
the street, there's a guy taking a dump right next to your mailbox.
No, but think further than that. If you think about what made writers, what made artists, what made adventurers go and try something, it's because, well, they needed to. They needed to earn the bread, one. And the second, life is boring if you are not doing something. So,
guys, I got to sign off here.
Oh,
no, you're
okay,
good,
Mike,
man.
before you go, I really need to ask you one thing.
Shoot.
I need to ask you one thing. As you know, I'm writing. If you ever wrote a novel, and if you have, what inspirational words do you give to this writer in training? And please ignore the fact in the comments that I said that I'm hunting you. Just give some inspirational.
My friends, I have a Substack column, mikebarron.substack.com, and I write a lot about writing there.
Okay. I'm going to post that in the chat right now. mikebarron.substack.com. Got it. Awesome. I'm assuming by you listening that's got to be your spot to give that advice, quote unquote.
I have given a lot of advice there on how to create. I do consult if anyone wants to hire me.
I just wanted a tip for a hobo in trying to make it big as a writing here, but because I'm poor as hell. Common knows.
I gotta go because I'm fading. Thanks for having me, guys.
Good, man. Thanks for being here, Mike. Take care. Have a great night. Appreciate it, sir.
See you in the future, man.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Mike Barron. Yeah.
Freaking legend.
Woo. Hell yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. That was cool.
I wasn't joking. I am broke as hell.
I'm happy I didn't went in the route of I want to talk about the Star Wars the whole night because I was
Well, and I didn't realize we were going to have him on until this morning. And I was like, oh, snap. Okay, cool. Yeah. So like, I got to change my display in the background and everything. It's all good in comics right now.
Dude, I didn't have the chance to talk about Godzilla.
Well, I did let you guys know that he's gonna be up.
Yeah. No, it's about the time. We
only ever
have
get him for an
2 minute
hour.
time. Yeah,
He usually does, like most streams, he does anywhere between an hour and a half. So, and also on top, he's a very, very productive man. The guy's writing 800 books right now. So,
dude, like that's like him and Chuck Dixon both. They're just freaking machines, man. They're absolute freaking machines.
His time is a privilege.
Thank you very much, Mike. We are grateful for your 1 hour. I'm definitely grateful. I know a few guys messaged me tell them say hello. I'm sorry, I just couldn't get to it. When you're trying to have a good flowing conversation, trust me, there's a lot of things I still wanted to get to. Smokes the Fox I wanted to get to. We didn't even get to Nexus as well, Nexus Scourge, but hopefully in a few months, maybe we can have him on for a follow-up. Now that the ice is broken, he's officially been on here. Maybe we can get him back on and we can go to those other routes with him, because I would love to go there with those.
Dude, he was in Nexus he was in Nexus since Origin, right?
What's Origin? Sorry.
Nexus.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So he's OG. Oh, yeah. We didn't go to Nexus. God damn it.
Don't worry. We'll make up for Nexus for the follow-up. I'll beg him if I have to for a follow-up. I'm sure it won't take much.
Just pray and do ritualistic sacrifice so that he'll show up again in the future.
He's not Alan Moore, man.
All right. Anyways,
who the hell's going to do sacrifices for Alan Moore?
Alan Moore believes
that actually matters.
He didn't know that he believes that he's actually a wizard, and you can.
I know the freaking snake god thing. I know. I'm just saying, who would do it? Because
I don't know, but apparently he will actually try to respond. As we are Dark Souls, yes, Alan Moore. If you try to do some satanic invocation to Alan Moore, he will actively try to respond. That's what he said.
Christ, that man is something.
So, okay, Brett Cohen has.
I wonder how pissed off he is with the recent Watchmen movie.
I don't know if he has any skin in the game with that.
Huge!
Brett Cohen is gifted 5 huge.
It's gigantic.
Memberships. Thank you, Brett. Looks like quite a few of you got those. Victor Fontaine got it. Frank Hammett, 11 Alpha, Claude Parrish, and the Common Nerds all became members. Thank you, Brett. I appreciate you gifting that, because it's absolutely badass when we get those, and especially for a show as fun and outgoing as tonight. Elmore accepts a bucket of KFC as sacrifice. Yeah.
And once again, I'd like to remember the public that if you give enough money, Nick will be morally obligated to watch all of Rebel Moon Part 2, 1, and the extended cut.
No, I don't.
Give $200 and he'll have to watch it. It's his obligation. He's our monkey. He needs to dance when we throw money.
Listen, when I watched the bullshit remake that was called, and I insist that it was called it, because I don't accept it as a movie that exists. It was called The Crow. No, that was absolute trash, and I don't think my state of apathy towards Star Wars, DC, Marvel, all that is at such a level of I don't care that I just, when there's conversations out there that I'm on, whether Midnight's Edge or Comics Division, I just don't care. Like I feel absolutely nothing, and I don't have anything to add to the conversation, not even to the sense of laughing at. That's just how much beyond the point of caring I am. The Crow reminded me of what it felt like when I did have those feelings, when I was seeing stuff from Marvel or DC, Star Wars being burnt down to the ground. I felt that all over again for The Crow, because The Crow is not only one of my favorite movies, but also it was one of the most representative movies of the entire 1990s. And also on top of it, the legacy of one Brandon Lee. I felt the fuel all over again with that movie. And I really don't want to feel it again. I think The Crow, I don't want to say it's the last straw, but I'm hoping that was the last straw as far as something that really pissed me off. As far as a story that didn't need to be touched upon, didn't need to be remade, just absolutely did not need. And however, what we do need is an Iron Cast.
Brother!
How's it going,
The
man?
great builder has arrived.
You're muted.
Boomer.
He boomered it.
And was that Emblazoned that came in here asking about The Crow? Was he the one that started that nonsense?
Who did?
Emblazoned? Was it Emblazoned that
No,
did that?
he didn't.
No.
I just brought up as an example of something that did, get my attention as far as making me let off some steam and anger because how much Marvel, DC, Star Wars I was past beyond the definition and meaning of caring. Everything else.
Okay, sorry I brought up.
If you want to hear somebody scream and rant about that stuff, come subscribe to my channel. I'll take care of all of that. Don't worry.
Oh, dude, I'm gonna.
They will.
They'd never do it.
I'm gonna. No, they will try. I'm gonna sue a bitch, and I'm gonna win that shit in court.
Well,
but
and
by the way,
hi, Iron. He's still muted. You got to hit the unmute button.
He's muted. You're muted
in
on the
StreamYards. In StreamYards. There you go.
No, you are muted.
Now you're muted on your PC too. Professional show, ladies and gentlemen, highly organized. Ironcaster's the best. He's got a snazzy background, but he doesn't know how to get his audio to work.
Dudes, we were talking about American medium versus Japanese medium, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm from an era where Japanese anime and Japanese productions were shitty, where the Godzilla movies were, if you don't remember, the Godzilla movies were actually absolute shit garbage. It was fun.
I remember the first Godzilla versus Kong.
Yeah, it was basically what Godzilla versus Kong is doing right now, right? It was superheroes, but instead these monsters is really stupid. But it worked. It was garbage. Anime was garbage. But we had American things like, for example, The Matrix. The Matrix was absolutely mind-blowing for everyone.
So good.
In action, we had stuff like Predator. That's absolutely great. We had Terminator. We had on horror Alien. We had amazing stuff coming from you guys. So we had trash from Japan, and we had the good stuff from the US. Now we get the trash from the US. We don't really
have good stuff from the US anymore. Not in good numbers, at least. Because everything wants to be anime and copy its success.
Here's the thing. There is good things. The difference.
We literally have a panel in Marvel Comics where Deadpool uses the dog from Chainsaw Man.
You're right. However, Fenrir, this is where I'm gonna kind of counter that argument. There is good things. Obviously, you can say it's few or far between. Sure, that's a fact, mostly. However, this is something that a lot of people, whether it's movies, shows, comics, a lot of people have gotten so used to being presented things in front of, good and bad. You have to find these things nowadays. That's the thing. You have to go out there and find it rather than just sit down hoping that something will change. Most of this stuff is not going to do it. Well, there may be a few things that might change. Maybe. We'll see. I'm not banking on it. I'm not waiting for it to happen. You have to go out there and find it. Or you could just be set with what you liked before and just accept it. That's your prerogative. Hey, great. But if you're looking for new stuff, that new stuff is going to have to be elsewhere. It's not going to be from the mainstream. It's not going to be from the people who put things in front of you. It's got to be from the people you go out of your way to take that extra half hour of your day to look for it. That's a big difference. I've already inherited that mentality for a long time, listening to a lot of underground metal. So for me, that was like a bit of a seamless transition. For me, this was the easiest thing. But I can see a lot of people who are into these other mediums of entertainment, and it's tough for them because they are so used to having this stuff brought to them one way, and now for them to go out of their way to find our thing, it's like they gotta rewire who they are a little bit. It's not a bad thing. It's just you gotta change your habits because we're all creatures of habit. That's up to and including me.
And there's a certain portion of the population that'll never do that. And the funny part about that is it's what the funny part is they won't even. They just stop watching new stuff and just go back to old things because the old stuff is what theirs and what's convenient. That's why
it's safer.
Yeah, and it is. It's safer. They know it's going to be good, and that's why Netflix's top #1 shows, and that's the #1 in ratings every single week, are all these old shows from a decade or more ago that people are binging.
They were supposed to be the offensive ones no one wants.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Yeah, the stuff you can't make nowadays. Speaking of things you can't make nowadays, what's up, Ironcast?
I assume you can hear me now. Yes.
Yep.
No.
Yes, we can.
Are you speaking?
He's alive and well. How's it going, Caster?
We were not making fun of you being a dwarf.
Of course.
Nick, did you know Shaquille O'Neal has a gummy shaped candy like his head?
I mean, what's the shame of that? You can live in mountains. You have hammers.
Wait, is it inside?
One at a time.
Getting a little better at the end there, and well, here I am.
I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here, Caster. I didn't think you were gonna make it. I know, obviously, you told me earlier you weren't feeling so hot, but I'm glad you
Oh my God, that sounds so wrong.
Hey, maybe it does, and that's fine. I can live with that. But Claude,
no. I just had Shaq in my mouth a few minutes ago. That is just.
He just now read that. He's a little behind.
It's hilarious. It's freaking funny. It's you gotta have the big old Shaq all up in the mouth. You know what? Claude Parrish had that experience. You know what? That's an experience we can say we haven't had. So
that's very true.
I don't know if it's better that it's gummy and not creamy or the other way around.
Ah, yeah. At least it didn't have a cream-filled center. Oh, dear God. Until it's Friday night, ladies and gentlemen. Until it's Friday night.
When you know it's a Friday night. It's good. It's great. It's diabolical. Oh, so I managed to get a hold of next week's Flash Gordon. And it's great. I'm just gonna brag about that. Flash Gordon #2, which once again has the Gooding artist on there. Will Conrad writing with Jeremy Adams. It's great. It's absolutely freaking awesome, and I'm really happy I was able to read it. I'll say that. Read it. It's good. Guys, read Flash Gordon. Check it out. It's a really fun comic book, and Flash Gordon is absolutely badass. And Will Conrad is not shabby himself either. So seriously, go check out. And also next week, Battle of the Black Stone starts. That's a big crossover at Conan, Dark Agnes, Solomon Kane. It's gonna be diabolical. It's gonna be huge. Jim Zub's gonna be writing it too. It's gonna be great. So this is a good time to. You haven't gotten into Conan. Now's a damn good time to freaking start. I mean, we're on the 4th arc with Conan the Barbarian. Doug Braithwaite is only getting more killer on the art as he goes along too. He's doing the Frost Giant's daughter story, which is great. I can't wait for Battle of the Blackstone next week. And of course, Rook Exodus is next week too, which is huge. I mean, just gigantic, just diabolical. I'm just gonna emphasize those statements because I can, and I will. Don't let him Superman your mouth. Man.
Well,
imagine Steel. You got news concerning Transformers. Is it the news about Dan leaving at issue 24?
No, it's about their sales.
Oh,
so check
go
this
on.
out. Check this out. So check this out. This is a report. This is from bleedingfool.com. This actually, the report itself actually came from Cybertron. Cybertron, yes. This new Transformer comics is outselling every single DC comic. So of course we know that they don't get. right? Of course, we know that we don't get their actual numbers anymore, but this is the interesting part about this. The Skybound comic is currently beloved by many fans and critics, i.e. this whole panel. So much so that it won the most prestigious award at the Eisners, the best continuing series, equivalent to Best Picture at the Oscars, and Best Writer or Artist, which we've all seen the art. I think it's very well deserving of that. When it comes to fans, well, comic shops have such a great demand for it that the latest sales charts for the month of May, the 8th issue of the series outsold every single comic published by DC that month. And yes, that includes Batman, which is DC's best-selling comic / characters. Transformers issue number 8 outsold Batman in May.
Man, if this doesn't hit the mark, nothing will.
DC got used to, how do I say this politely?
Getting their ass beaten like a street gang.
No, they
Probably
got used
too,
to
bud.
transitioning every single one of their characters. No, they are transitioning into bankruptcy. So
that transitioning to bankruptcy. D-Bud, right, is right. Every DC comic product. Here's the thing. Just wait until the G.I. Joe starts in November. That's in the Energon universe. G.I. Joe and Transformers are going to run circles around all of DC. And it's not going to be even close. Like, we're going to be at a point, like, I think it was in 95 or 96, where for 1 month, Image was the number 2 best-selling publisher for 1 month. I think we might get to a point where not only will we have that repeat, but I think it might start becoming a consistent pattern because of how Transformers is going to be. And I'm assuming with Joshua Williamson doing G.I. Joe, I have a feeling G.I. Joe is going to be a home run. I'm feeling really good about that come November. That will definitely be a book we'll talk about weekly when it comes out. We are going to definitely talk G.I. Joe.
I had somebody in my chat today that was just absolutely blown away when I was talking about the Transformers. They're like, wait a minute, there's good stuff coming out of trailer. I'm like, yes, you have to understand who's behind it, who's writing it. It's absolutely amazing. It's incredible. And the writing is epic and the art is epic and everybody's exactly who you want in it. And yeah, that's why it's outselling Batman right now, because if anybody that's seen some of the recent panels from Batman, you know what kind of state the Batman comic's in right now.
At least the tagline for those gummies is not melts in your mouth.
I think Caster wanted to say something before I acknowledge this comment. Go ahead, Caster.
Just that I think we're going to see people like really sitting up in their chairs and be really confused by the fact that we have a Transformers book that is in the top of the list. That's not something that I don't think people are going to be quite ready for, because they're so used to seeing all of the. They're used to assuming Marvel DC is the top 2.
Mm-hmm.
And that said, I think it's going to be one of those things that's going to cause what little audience DC still has for comics to really start demanding more. I think when that happens, when we get multiple books coming out of Skybound to hit above DC, then I think we're going to see some people like actually freaking out over it.
Hey, it could happen, man. It could happen. D-Bud has a great comment here. It says, back in the mid-late 80s, I sold more copies of G.I. Joe than any of the DC titles. History might repeat itself, man. It just might. I'm not going to say it will, because that could be jumping the gun a little bit, even if it's going against modern age DC. But, hey, could it happen? It's definitely not. It's not out of the question. And real quickly, thank you, Claude Parrish. He sent me this on Twix. Shackalicious XL gummies, peach, berry punch, and orange.
Okay, that part about naturally and artificially flavored. What's the natural flavor? Water?
Claude, you can answer that, sir, if you'd like.
You want to know what the natural?
But I will say though, I am grateful that he sent me that, because that is absolutely awesome.
Man,
it's funny talking
in the 80s had to fire a lot of people. They were actually really hurting.
Well, and the thing with the G.I. Joe thing too, that was, if I remember correctly, that's kind of like at the height of like the cartoons and the toys and everything else. Like that was kind of like
a couple of movies too.
Yeah, that was kind of like peak era for GI Joe. So imagine if we get like an actual like good GI Joe cartoon or a good Transformers cartoon based on these comics. Like,
But
you're
don't we
just going to
already
see
have
that
a new
stuff
anime
explode even
coming out?
more. You hush. Not of Transformers. No, that's nasty, disgusting.
Well,
movie.
no. There was another
Oh.
story though. There was another story that was just kind of getting a little news.
By Trigger, I think.
Yes, and I was just getting to that. Studio Trigger is going to be working on some bit of animation for Transformers, and Studio Trigger is, of course, one of the more prominent anime studios that's done stuff like Gurren Lagann and Kill la Kill. Like, these are beloved action anime, and it's gonna be a good match.
These are the guys that escaped the huge corporation trying to take over what they actually loved. I don't remember. It was Studio IG, right? The one that was being taken over when these guys left. And while they were doing Kill la Kill, there's a moment at the end of episode 24, I believe, that the narrator says, keep going, Studio Trigger, because Studio Trigger was actually about to close.
So there's a teaser.
Yeah, we saw it.
I haven't seen it.
Show it here.
I haven't seen it.
Because that's going to require Nick to come back. But yeah, there's like a little...
Nick comes back. Nick, I have a bit of a story time for you, Aaron Caster, because this Wednesday was absolutely awesome. Normally, I'm not the kind of guy that opens collector boosters because that shit's expensive as hell. But in my store, somebody decided to open one booster, so they had to open the whole box, and people were buying single boosters. A friend comes to me and says, "Hey, I got Jace, the Mind Sculptor, as a furry," and I'm like, "I will buy it from you at any price. No, I want to keep it. No, sell it to me. No, I want to keep it." Okay, so I was angry. I picked a booster. I actually got in debt in the store to buy the booster because it was $30. I opened the booster. Jace the Mind Sculptor. The alternate foil, the special texture card.
So Pablo is furry confirmed.
Yeah, but also it's $200 more than the one that I wanted to buy. So fuck you, guy. Yeah, so basically it was god damn it, at least I will get something that I can trade for him with him for the card or something. Instead of it came a better version, so yeah, suck it up.
Just real quick in the chat, Steve M, that game is amazing, by the way. Jesse, you have a question in the chat?
What question do I have in the chat? Have you ever played the game Transformers Devastation? It is the classic G1 characters in a very cool cell shade. I'd love to see a Transformers. I have not, Steven. I have not played that game. That'd probably be a good question for my buddy Diesel, but that is if that's something you can get on Steam, that definitely sounds like a lot of fun. Like that's what I do on my channel. Like I'm just your common nerd for a reason. I'm like a little jack of all trades, master of none kind of guy, but sometimes better than a master of one. And like I always love checking out new stuff, especially like old stuff that I missed out on. And so like if that's a game you can still on Steam, like people buy me games all the time, and I will gladly play stuff like that on stream whenever I have time. That sounds like an absolute blast. But yeah, I'd love to see some of the pictures of the art style from it.
Actually,
did you guys play it?
No,
you can't share.
Yeah, that's the problem. I can't share. But no, it is a fantastic game. Unfortunately, I don't think it's available anymore.
Oh well, shout out to the Rommers. If it wasn't for them,
gotta ask you something. You guys want to do a D&D campaign next week?
Oh, I'm reading. Ironcaster shared with me the rulebook for another kind of RPG based on Japanese video game RPGs. It's really good.
Just that I will tell you this. And I actually wanted to try it out.
I only have one worry, and is that most of the people that I will be able to play it with here in my country are really old dudes. And I'm guessing at least one of them will try to be a high school girl with machine guns or something like that. So maybe I need a better player group.
Why, Pablo, are you of course speaking of Fabula Ultima?
Yes.
Oh, this is a great little RPG. It is.
Yeah, you sent me that too once. I remember.
Yeah, no, this is something that has been
it?
kind of getting a little bit of attention in sort of some of those circles I'm in. It is inspired by a lot of like the PS1 era RPGs game and some of the more modern JRPGs such as Bravely Default, Triangle Overlord, Suikoden and Persona, and of course, obviously Final Fantasy. And it's made by a Italian guy who was a big fan of those, which has then been translated over into English.
Mm-hmm. No, is actually really solid. The system. Have you ever seen how original Final Fantasy used to calculate damage, or how Pokemon used to calculate damage?
I saw once a video about the Final Fantasy one, but didn't finish.
It's basically like that. Or if you have played any of the Etrian Odyssey dungeon crawlers, it's basically that.
Hey. Nice artwork.
No, you know why I don't want to play it with a bunch of 40-something old fat nerds.
Oh,
yeah, that's why I'm asking. We should try next week for free. We should try it.
I'm thinking about printing the PDF that Ironcaster sent me, but if at one point I get somehow to send me a couple of books from the US, I will make my best friend send me the books, because it's the kind of stuff, even the art, everything is absolute. The art is straight up Bravely Default. Bravely Default. So
there's a pretty strong little fan community for the game that's been turned around and making a bunch of like custom classes and that you can put in the game. Like someone made the Angler, so if you want to like bring in a bunch of fishing mechanics, you can do that. And then there are also, of course, some like little official stuff. Like this is a book all about like adding more high fantasy elements into your game. So so the idea is you can kind of mix in a lot of that kind of classic fantasy stuff. We could go for the classic Final Fantasy idea of we have to go collect the 4 like elemental crystals to save the world. Now hop in your Magitech Walker.
Yeah, it never gets old.
No, actually, I will run that campaign, but I will have the Final Fantasy 12 OST playing on the background.
Oh, of course.
Because it's basically 100 hours of music or something like that.
What's up, Mars
Can you just
Monkey
give me a
Max?
straight answer? The warden just arrived.
It's good to see Mars Monkey Max here. Hell yeah, man. How you doing, buddy? Sorry, I went to go take care of some things at the home for a few minutes, but Cassie, you were showing off toxic
Meaning the
comments.
toilet.
Do you want to show off more toxicity? The chat will never oppose toxicity ever.
So there were a couple of things I did have to show, and I had a lot of this all has to do with Transformers. So first, let me go ahead and show off this game that was brought up in chat. That was
we were talking about
Trust your big metal.
Give it to me. Give it to me big and hard and tall and shiny.
So hopefully, I got my audio stuff taken care of here. So
probably not.
Let's see if this works. Nick?
Yes, I'm sliding.
Giggity.
Like it looks like they animated an episode of the G1 cartoon. It's turned into a video game.
It reminds me to Spider-Man, the animated series,
Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah. Whoa.
Sweet.
That's a big old That's a big old Decepticon.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, they're just bringing up all the air games.
I remember this game.
They look so good, cell shaded.
It was.
I actually like that. For the Transformers, it looks good.
Energy also detected.
It seems our theory may have been correct, Soundwave.
Oh, hey, it's the Megatron
plasma energy is unstable. No Cybertronian has been able to tame it since the Golden Age.
Then stand back, Starscream, and watch me tame it as I have tamed you.
Giggity.
One of these days,
I didn't know their relationship went that way. Whoa.
Constructicons! Use
Yeah,
the
they go
kinetic
very
shields to
deep.
build me a perimeter.
Devastator.
Well, not yet.
I know that color green when I
Lord
see it.
Megatron.
We have been given a gift beneath the surface, and I intend to use it.
Yeah.
Megatron and his Decepticons are already here.
Oh, that's the voice.
Yeah, just the entire
Without
game
him, it
looks
just
like
doesn't feel right.
That's cool. That's pretty neat. That's pretty neat. Yeah, that looks like a lot of fun. And it does look cool. I do like the art style. That's fun. It reminds me of like the Dragon Ball Z games.
So let me ask you guys: are those the voices you hear when you're reading through the comic?
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Those should be the standards as far as like the voices. That's straight up like I don't know how that's not an expectation. It seems like obviously when Dan Johnson is writing Transformers, it feels like he has a lot of these types of voices.
Look, Transformers without Frank Welker isn't Transformers.
Yeah.
That's fair.
So to just kind of set this up, this is the little preview that's come out for an upcoming like animation that the well-known anime studio Trigger is working on for Transformers.
Mm-hmm.
And this is only about 40 seconds, but this is what we know so far.
And Gilbert Godfrey to Starscream.
That would be great. I feel triggered already. Oh, that looks good.
Oh yeah.
Till all are one.
Colors.
Ooh.
Oh yeah. Now that's a teaser.
That I feel
remember.
teased.
It was not people from IG. It was people from Gainax, the ones that separated and started Studio Trigger. And yeah, you know what's the worst part? Those guys wanted so much for so long work on Star Wars. If you see I don't remember which number of Daikon, but there used to be a convention called Daikon on Japan for animation. And they actually inserted Star Wars characters on the animation for the beginning of the convention. For the celebration of the beginning of the convention, they had these big animations each year. And they inserted a lot of Star Wars there. They wanted to work with the Star Wars for all this time. And they finally got to work on Star Wars on the animes that they did on 2022 or something like that. And they got restricted because Disney didn't want them to do all the sexy, crazy shit that they do. So instead, they did something boring. Yeah, it was 40 years of a dream killed by Disney in the most stupid way possible.
Disney's good at killing
Just
dreams.
like everything that's good.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Wow. Everything. Wow. I'll tell you what, though. I'm looking forward to G.I. Joe. We're lucky we're going to get another year of great Transformers. Void Rivals has held the ship afloat. Saturday Morning Adventures TMNT has been great. I can say that with confidence now that it's 16 deep. It has been so much fun. And even though the 80s cartoon is not my favorite TMNT cartoon, I am really enjoying it because it's basically the continuation of the 80s cartoon. So, yeah, it's
They
and of
better
course
have the
Conan.
magical being trailer.
Of course, Conan is killing it, and I can't wait for Battle of the Blackstone next week. And now that we can add Flash Gordon to the list, I mean, I'm adding it to the list. I will. If you guys won't, I will straight up because Flash Gordon has been so much fun. And I feel like more people should be looking into Flash Gordon, especially, that's another character like a Conan. That's of that time period, way, way, way back when, who now has a chance at having a big run again. And that's glorious. That's absolutely fucking glorious. Maybe now, soon, we'll have someone who will do something on the Shadow or Solomon Kane. And before you know it, the Pulse will come back and be great again.
You notice how we seem to be in an age of bringing back a lot of legacy characters, like and beyond just all the pulp characters that are coming back, a la our our Conans and Solomon Kanes, but I mean Flash Gordon.
Flash Gordon's another one of those.
But we're also with a lot of the other a lot of these classic characters are getting reboots of their own. I mean, you certainly won't hear me. I'm certainly gonna be the first one to bring up Space Ghost, but I'm also talk about other stuff like we're seeing what Gru's coming back.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Say that again.
Gru. Oh, well. Why don't I take this opportunity, Nick, to show you Gru and lead into my little segment of the show where I show off a couple of books come out next week that hopefully will get some interest to people to get back out to the shops.
I say let's do it. I think that sounds diabolically great.
All right. So
hashtag make comic shops great again.
Yeah. Let's do it.
So the first book is one of these legacy.
I recognize, but go on.
So for anyone who's unaware, Gru is the creation of Sergio Aragones.
I think I saw some in the dollar bin.
And he is best known as one of the top artists for Mad Magazine. So he's got. You look at his stuff, you can see it has that very distinct Mad Magazine kind of look to it. Gru is a character who is basically a Conan the Barbarian ripoff, but the thing is, he is just the biggest idiot there is, and winds up causing way more damage to everyone around him because he has just this incredible bad luck about him. When people hear Gru's coming to town, they flee in terror.
But not for good reason. Yeah, not because of just because of the disaster follows him. I love that. That is great.
Yeah.
Yep. So hey, just he's a silly, dumb character. There's really no big continuity. Just pick it up, kind of check it out. It's done. It's dumb comedy, and these are a little mini series that you should be able to enjoy.
Good old school, man.
Speaking of old school, do we have a variant cover for this? No.
There's gotta be at least one.
So
no.
There can be only one. Sorry.
They're not trying to pad their sales, Nick. They know that's a good book.
It's Dark Horse.
Yeah. They usually do one or two covers. Once in a while, three. But go on.
Speaking of old school, what are the other books you might happen to see out at the local comic shop? And if we're talking about classic things that would be on the comic rack, we're also talking horror. That's why I'm gonna have to take the moment to stop and hold up Shutter magazine, which is having its annual coming out next week. It's a little bit of a light week, and so I wanted to take the opportunity to highlight a fantastic little horror magazine. If you like the Tales from the Crypt stuff from the EC Comics days.
All I know is that cover down in the bottom. What was it?
Yeah, the cover's on the right.
Yeah. You noticed that?
Of course he did. He's a toxic man.
That's absolutely. That's not I don't know.
Yeah,
look. There was something earlier you said about subtle or something, and that's not subtle at all. I don't know.
Look on the cover. That is up of that one.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Yeah. The right side is the right side.
Well,
Yeah, the
my
right
friend,
side's up.
I think you should do yourself a favor and go check out Shutter magazine or some of their other works, such as Vampiress Carmilla, because that is
Yeah.
if
I
you
might have
enjoy
to let my lady know about this. She has the Shutter app. She loves it, and this is right up her alley.
Makes me shudder.
Let me see if I can find a couple of other covers just to show you some examples of their stuff.
I wish we need like a zoomed in version. That's all we really need. No, this is great too because I love because Shutter, their little streaming service, they've got some great like horror classics and stuff like that. That's why I was wondering if this has something to do with it. But either way,
Now,
it's great little horror stuff.
I feel like I should say I don't know for certain whether or not this is related to that.
Probably not. I think it's spelled differently, so probably not. But still in the horror genre.
Yeah. Let me see.
And I like seeing the reemergence of a lot of this kind of stuff too. It's great that there's hey, by the way, there's a market for these still out there. Remember that? Remember everybody you remember all the guys that used to fund comic sales? Yeah, they still like all this stuff and they're still around. And guess what? They probably got more money now than they did 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Here, tell you what, let me show you one more of their covers.
Embiggen it.
Let's get something a little spooky for you.
Ooh. Oh no. That's a Halloween indeed. Arr. That is.
I see two big grapes.
Oh, Kelly Jones is on there. Look, Kelly Jones and Don Glutt. How about that?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
You guys seeing what I'm seeing?
Yeah.
We all know what you're saying.
A pointy witch's
hat.
That
cast on the background's pretty cool, man. Really good design.
It's epic.
Mm-hmm.
I like the tombstones or the headstones.
That's what they all say.
But
that is actually really epic, though.
This is one of those books. This is one of those magazines that I recommend people check out because we need to have a couple little throwbacks now and then.
Absolutely.
Of course, the next book, of course, sort of right in this alley is. Come on. Cool. Do I even need to say anything more about Conan?
I cannot wait for this. Battle of the Blackstone, between what we've gotten in 14 issues of Conan the Barbarian, 4 issues now of the Savage Sword and now with this crossover with Dark Agnes and Solomon. I can't wait. This should definitely be something people should be going out there shopping back. I need this damn comic, especially if you're reading Conan the Barbarian. Especially, but if you're someone who is a little bit more living on his budget but wants something new, homie, make this one your one. I can't wait for this. I cannot fucking wait because I'm gonna read the shit out of this. I'll probably even do a video review for this one. I'm gonna try to open up time to do a video review for this one because my Conan videos, whenever I do them, tend to do very well on the channel. So I might as well ride that Conan Robert E. Howard wave and get this one going because I'm absolutely anticipating this one. I can't wait.
I don't think there's anything more I can say about this book because you said everything that I need to say about this. Needless to say, folks, go out, pick this one up. I think this is gonna be the top book of the stack that when I sit down to start reading. But let's see. If you aren't reading Conan, why aren't you reading Conan? This is very.
I agree. No, Five Pico's right. If you are, why aren't you? You should straight up be changing that about your life. Straight up. This isn't up for debate. This should be variants. Oh yeah. So they got 6 covers for this bad boy.
This what I.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
Oh, it's kind of got that film negative effect to it.
Yeah,
I really dig this one.
Bonan.
This is that one. The previous one is basically an old school Conan book cover.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. It does look like that. Well, speaking of, if you guys are subscribed to the Conan YouTube channel, there's an interview that came out this morning with Sarah Frazetta. I will highly recommend listening to all 50 minutes of it. It is worth your time and then some. Let me see if I can dig it up for you, fine gentlemen. What's up, Frank Hammett? And tell you all to listen to it because I listened to all 50 minutes of it without stopping. And Sarah Frazetta, like, obviously she's the granddaughter of Frank Frazetta. Dude, it's freaking good. It is probably my favorite interview that's been done on the channel yet because they've talked to her. Obviously, they talked to Roy Thomas. They've talked to Jim Zub. They even talked to the current artist, Doug Braithwaite, who's currently doing the current arc. All right, right here, Conan, Sarah Frazetta interview. All right, there you go, chat. Right there, Sarah Frazetta. Listen to this after the show or tomorrow morning, whatever. Is this Ryan Otley?
Tony Flick.
He looks
Fleckus.
He looks like he likes Ryan Otley from Invincible. He
I
definitely
can see that.
likes Ryan Otley from Invincible. Oh yeah, he likes Ryan Otley, which is fine. I actually really enjoy Otley, so I'm down with that. But seriously, guys, that Sarah Frazetta interview it's really good. So listen to it. It's great. It's huge. It's diabolical. Fantastic. Looking good. Yeah, and you know what? It is looking good. Oh, it looks like Mars Monkey Max already did. Cool. See, my man. There you go. Yeah, I can't wait for this story. I cannot wait. And the pulps are going to be great again. It's going to be huge. It's going to be diabolical. I can't wait. Between this, Flash Gordon. Oh, man. Flash Gordon number 2. Yeah, Flash Gordon. And, dude, once again, Rook Exodus. People should be reading Rook Exodus straight up. Oh, man. I can't wait for more people to make the right choice with their life and get on board with that book because right now it's gonna be 5 issues in and Flush Gordon.
Not quite.
God damn it. I just got word from a friend. He received cards that he bought and also a card for myself because I snuck in a card. The idiots from the delivery service perforated the cards.
Oh.
God damn it.
Fenrir, do you got slip and slide out right now?
Yeah.
Well, then why don't you pull up? No, it's okay. Why don't you pull out now? We'll highlight you.
All right.
All right.
Well, you all know who I am. I'm your typical entertaining wolf. You know my locations. Ironcaster can give you the links to my Twitter. I mostly do my crimes there of entertainment and atrocities against stupidity. So, yes, follow me there because the more followers I get, the more powerful I become. And I will not rest until I'm over 9,000 and beyond.
You just need like 3 seasons and a couple of OVAs.
Fender,
Yeah.
you're kicking.
Yeah, until
Fender,
I'm
you're kicking all kinds of butt on Twitter. You got like you're almost at 6,500.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really want to grow something, a good place of people where we can all have fun and laugh at stupidity. But absolutely no freaking mercy. That's my deal. Okay, then, Nick, I hope I did well in today's conversation. Certainly when Mike was here. Hope I did well. You know what?
It was a little rocky to start, but then you definitely got it together towards the second half. You kept it perfect. Second half, it was perfect.
Great. And Ironcast, I really need to know because I really want to do a campaign with you guys. Start something fun. Just the first one. I want to make it special, just like your first night with a girl. I want to make this one a fun one.
Get the candles.
We'll have to plan this out up on the Discord. So, once I can just kind of get the schedule cleared up a bit, I do want to sit down and get some games in. So, just kind of keep bugging me, and then hopefully I'll get the schedule cleared up.
Sure.
You heard the
All
man.
right then.
Bugging,
Okay.
poking, prodding.
I'm gonna say my goodbyes. Pablo, keep the party going. Nick, it was fun as always. Ironcastle, always good to see you. Common Nerd, don't forget to get me a freaking autograph from the convention. Don't be a douche.
Oh, he's gonna be one.
Like I've always said, send me money. I'll get you whatever you want, Fenrir.
You know I'm a hobo at this state. I don't have no money.
Man, I'm a blue collar YouTuber. Okay, I barely cover rent every month. You think
And
I
I'm
have
a
any extra
black
money
guy.
to
I
spend
get enough-
on a
I
poor,
have
desperate,
superiority of
pathetic
food.
puppy dog? Don't try pulling that black card with me. It doesn't work with my little sister. It doesn't work with my brother. It certainly is going to work with a feral dog.
You got it, Clobby.
I love
You bastard.
That was good.
Oh man, I love you. Stay safe, dude.
Good night, Fenrir. Thank you, sir.
All right. Peace, brothers. Peace, chat.
What's up, Muhammad said? How you doing, buddy? He was on my member stream last Saturday afternoon. He was really, really good guy. Really, really enthusiastic, and man, he is definitely enjoying the time of his life. You know, reading classic stuff and looking into the good new stuff. And yeah, it's always a pleasure to be hanging out with guys like him. So shout out to Muhammad said, man, really good dude.
Yeah, man.
Mm-hmm.
So
dude, it's a great journey going back and reading all of like these old comics and stuff like that. Oh, is Ironcaster leaving? Are we closing?
He's got stuff to present. So present.
Present.
I've got one last comic to recommend for next week, and it's right in my wheelhouse of recommendations.
Oh dear God!
I saved the best for last.
It's gonna be a manga.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be fantastic.
It's gonna be Kamen Rider. It's gonna be Super Sentai or Super Hentai. One of the two, whichever Ironcaster. Depends on how late in the evening it is.
Well, there's versions of Super Sentai that are Super Hentai. So,
Nick, you want to share my screen?
Yeah. Ooh.
Okay.
Oh, never mind. Not Grinder. No.
Wait a minute, Jesse.
Oh.
Yeah. So tell us about Grindazier.
So, UFO Robot Grindizer is one of the OG giant robot animes that have been around since the 70s, and it actually is currently airing with an anime right now. So we're seeing a little bit of good synergy there with that. And this is the start of, I think, a 5-issue miniseries. Let me double check. Doesn't specify. Let's see. But yeah, this is my last recommendation. Come on, you gotta get something with a big robot in now and then,
especially with bull horns. Like that's awesome.
And look at these covers, man.
That's epic. I love the scale of that one too. Like it really, because that's always the thing. Is like you see, like even with the Transformers and stuff like that, you never realize exactly how big they are until you stick them next to a human. So like that's the best thing in the world to give something like that scale. And yeah, I mean that just tells you exactly how much of a monstrous force he is just by that one picture. I love it.
Well, that and you look at with the placement of the sun over the shoulder, the shadows. It is a beautiful cover. This is, I think, my pick of the lot.
Okay.
And then it just look, he's fighting giant space monsters.
And there's tentacles.
It wouldn't be anime without tentacles.
It's exactly.
Give me tentacles. Give me tentacles.
Oh, that's a cool one too. That's really cool.
You should go to Japan for that.
For the tenties?
No, for your fill of tentacles.
Okay, so for the tenties.
Yeah, for the tenties.
I was right. For the tenties. I had to make it sound like that on purpose. So I need to get myself a taste of the tenties. Real quickly, TZ Burton has gifted a huge membership. Thank you, TZ Burton, sir, for gifting that membership. Between you and Brett Cohen with the gifting memberships and Brett Cohen with a super chat. Really appreciated, guys. It's definitely very helpful. So thank you very much for that. I am grateful. So it's never an expectation, but it's always welcoming nonetheless. So, Mr. Casta, time to go to
Yes,
channel
sir.
huge. Yeah. Well, you know, maybe in a few months, few years, I can consider taking those extra ambitious levels to doing that. For now, I gotta be a little bit more moderate in my decisions, but definitely at one point in at one point in time in my life in the future, I want to have a stint where I go absolutely balls to the wall nuts, and then maybe then yeah, I will be diabolically huge and it'll be great, and Culture Casino will be like, how didn't he catch up? And I'm like, I don't know, Culture, but I did, and there's
One
nothing
day.
you can do about that.
There's no sense in going off half-cocked.
Oh my God, the cock.
God, I love that. I mean, you'll probably make 100K before Jay will, so it'll be okay.
I was
No,
already
it will
started.
be at 200 when that happens.
Dude, I'm still chatting with my friend, and can you send me a photograph of the hole? And obviously, I worded that poorly, so
No, you didn't. You worded
he
that
said what,
perfectly.
and I go back from seeing a hole on my screen to what Nick was showing on the screen, and I'm like, God damn it!
You know what, TZ, you know who started their channel like that? Polly, Latino Slant. A lot of people don't know. I remember I first discovered Polly's channel when Gary Nerd Rock used to do his member streams. And I think he had around like 150 subs, I think, at the time. And he was operating from his avatar and his phone. That's it. Obviously, we see where Paulie's at now. It's clear that, he removed all excuses and he just went for it. Obviously, the dude had a voice that was made for this, so there's no denying when you hear him. It goes to show you that it's not always about having the best technology. He went solely off his voice, off a smartphone, and it got the ground running for him. So this is before he got attached to Midnight's Edge, before he got attached to Mr. Rage. This before Midnight's Edge Espanol was a thing. This is just Paulie the Latino Slant. That was it. And man, you could say like, oh man, say what you will on some of his opinions on some of the things, but you know what? The guy put in the work and then some, and far, far, far some. I would not even say some, but a landslide. The dude he's a hustler. I got to give it to him on that. He is an absolute hustler.
Well, and he's also got a lot of great insights because he's in the belly of the beast too. You know what I mean? His girlfriend works in the industry. You know what I mean? So he's got incredible insights that a lot of people can relate to and they appreciate because he's been there and he knows how the inner workings of a lot of stuff. It's the same reason like with R&B, you know, like Robert Meyer Burnett, you might not agree with all of his opinions on everything, but you know the guy isn't going to blow smoke up your ass about how the inside of the industry works. You know what I mean? That's the same thing with Paulie, and that's one of the things we love about Paulie with all that kind of stuff too. So yeah, shout out to Latino Slant.
Agreed.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that man, he absolutely earned every single sub that he has. That's not even up for dispute.
His dedication, man. He is really, really dedicated. He's focused. He's always focused. He's always thinking on how to get better, how to make it more interactive, how to get to more screens, and yeah, he's absolutely focused, man.
Oh, I know, and it shows. And yeah, and Debug, you're right. I mean, God, the Danny Trejo episode. I mean, that alone. I mean, don't obviously he's done far more than that, but I mean that alone, even if you just had it at Danny Trejo and nothing else, that's an accomplishment. That's something that's insane. Put up on a wall and be proud of. But he's done far more than that. He's done far more than that. It's inspiring. It really is. And I really think that's something people should look to and say, hey, look at this guy. Look where he started from. Even if you take out even the addict background, which obviously makes his story that much greater, but the fact that once again, the bare minimum, it wasn't about the best technology, having the right camera. He went out there, a freaking avatar on a smartphone. His voice, That's it. Just his voice. You don't need to have the best everything. It's not true. I don't care what anyone says. You can have an audience, and you just gotta be you.
I got monetized on my first channel on a laptop with that Blue Yeti microphone that you've got sitting in front of your face right now, with a much worse camera than what I've got. Man. You know what I mean? And technically, I've gotten monetized twice with that same setup. So it's like, well, minus the laptop, nice. I had a full PC this time around. But like, I mean, yeah, it's that's the thing. It's like, you know, as long as you you make good points, you're well thought out, and even if people don't agree with your points, as long as your points are well reasoned. Right. That's always our biggest issue with like the mainstream, whether it be comics, whether it be Hollywood, whether it be any of these corporations. They try to throw up all of these BS immutable characteristics as to reasons why you should love their stuff. That's not a reason to love your stuff. Give me a good story. Tell me the reasons why you love your stuff. And then that helps the rest of us understand that. And so if you well reason your thoughts out, even if people don't agree with your opinion, it's like Lofty, right? A lot of people don't like Lofty's takes, but Lofty's got good reasons behind it, and he tells you why. And he'll even admit, this isn't everybody's take, this isn't everybody's thing, but this is what I like, you know. And that's the important part. As long as you're coming from an honest perspective, like, you know, R&B said, you know, authenticity is the new currency of the realm. You know what I mean? And that's what you are. If you're authentic, people are going to listen to you, whether they agree with your opinions or not. They're okay with disagreeing with people as long as you're honest about it.
No.
Yeah, don't be like Concord.
Or new rock stars.
Nah, it's hard to be. I know the thing is, the beauty of being on this sphere of YouTube is it feels like, you know, you had to go off your way to create an ego out of you, unless you become, you know, one of the overnight sensations, which obviously those happen. But I feel like even small slivers of success, whether it's similar if not greater than my own. Yeah, I feel like in order to have that, you gotta meld yourself into that. I feel like that's just people who were like, "Oh man, look at this small sliver I got. I'm just gonna run with that." And before you know it, a lot of those people tend to either learn from their problem, realize that's not the way, or they burn out.
Yep. Yeah, you have to be willing to commit to the grind. 99% of the channels you see out there with 100,000 subscribers or more did not get there overnight. It was a grind. It was years of work, days and hours of dedication. You know, Hypnotic talks about that all the time. He's like, even when he was working a full-time job, working 60 hours a week, he still put out 2 videos every day, no matter what, because that was his goal. That was his plan. And now he's got like 55,000 subscribers and he's able to do it full-time. You know, and so it's one, and he does, you know, and obviously his live streams help out a lot with that now, but that's not how he started. You know, he did his live streams on occasion, but he started out just cranking out content all the freaking time and being consistent about it. And that's what the algorithm loves: consistency, absolute consistency with that kind of stuff. So you can do it. Anybody
look no further. That guy has been on since 2009. Now, obviously, he's definitely not what you consider an overnight sensation. I think he even said himself it took him 3 or 4 years before he got to 1K. And there's one man who goes out of his way to not play to the algorithm. It's him, because he is the definition of I'll do what I want, when I want, how I want. And because YouTube does, and it's true, YouTube does like when you A, are consistent, B, also mostly stick to one thing. And YouTube likes that, and that's what they prefer. I'm horrible at that too. I'm absolutely
it's a math equation. It makes it easier to sort. You know what I mean?
They want to be like, oh, this is how we identify you. And I personally tend to lean more towards Razor's mentality. And I'm sure maybe if I did stick to one thing, maybe if I had to take a very I don't want to say objective, but maybe I guess I'll just say that word. If I had to take an objective stance, if I stuck to one thing on my channel right now, the one channel that exists, how many subs I have? Maybe I probably have 4,000 or 5,000 right now. Maybe I would, but I've never been interested in multiple channels, and that's not a dig at people who do. I get why people do. They want to, make their channel grow as big as they can. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. For me, I go the overkill, Motorhead, Slayer, Cannibal Corpse route of one channel, It's gonna be 800 different things. The algorithm will hate me, but whatever. As long as people catch it, someone catches it, and you know what? I got 2K in the most organic way possible, and I'm happy with that. I'm really, and I do believe someday down the road I'll probably hit 10K. It'll take me a long time to get there. I mean, much like how Razor can see that took him 3 or 4 years, which is hard to believe considering nowadays he has like 380K subs.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's weird to think when you hear of a guy like that taking 3 or 4 years to 1K, you almost don't believe that because you see the way he has his spitfire dialogue and his rants and his tongue twisting words and the things he puts together that you would never think about putting. You would think you watch like this guy was made to be huge. He was made.
Yep.
But you don't. But yeah, it took him several years, and that's because he went out of his way to go against the algorithm. And even he himself says, he's like, yeah, probably if I stuck to one thing, I'd probably have 1 million subs right now. He probably would. I'm sure he would have 1 million subs. He would if he stuck to whatever one thing, whether it was politics, gaming, comics, movies. If he's like, but guys like that, I have more fun when I do it that way. Yeah. I do get naturally less views, but there's a gratifying release in just doing things my way and my way the highway, bitch. What's up, Price of Reason? My guy from Midnight's Edge After Dark. My man. I love it. By the way, guys, that's a damn that's a channel that is really damn good. Second one thing and being fucking good at. I love Price of Reason's channel because he has like almost like a critical drinker type of channel with the way he reviews properties, except he has a caveat to his videos because when he has his reviews, especially if there's something he has a lot of, let's just say negative thoughts to say, he always likes to close out his thoughts on what's the bright side of this terrible thing. What is the thing that can point on and say, hey, you know what? I did like this. And he tries as hard as he can to find something, even something that's bad. Like, you know what? I at least like this. And I think only 1 or 2 things, I think he couldn't find one good thing to say. I think one of them was Madam Web. Correct me if I'm wrong, Price. I think one of them was Madam Web, I think. But yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. And he has a great channel. And once again, his character with his fish, absolutely awesome. Also, my children want a plushie of that, so make that shit happen, dude. I have not watched it yet, but I have it on my watch list top. I'm down to 3 videos, and that's one of them, including yours. So your video, Critical Drinkers video. Oh, sorry, I'm down to 2 videos, yours and Critical Drinkers video. So, and then I'll be caught up on my watch later. Which is weird to say. I'll be caught up on my watch later tab. I'm sure I will. I trust in you, sir. And I know I'm going to have him on sometime in September. We're going to see his comic collection. Because, it's always cool to see the dudes in their comic collections. But anyways, kids, as I always say, what? What caught your eye?
I just thought I should go look at my watch later list, and it's about 106 long.
Right.
So I should probably get to some of that
at some point. Yeah, eventually for sure.
I stopped paying attention to the watch later list.
But it's like the odd 7-hour audiobook. I'm like, hey, I should listen to this.
Yes.
No, Abigor's got a good point. The watch later tab is like the gaming backlog. Yeah,
exactly that. So at one point I was like, yeah, I will never get to any of this. So yeah, recommendation it is.
I love that.
Yep. Look at him now. Just because they cover. Well, that's the thing, and that's another thing. And I'll cover this one last point. I don't feel the need to cover everything. I really don't, because there's a reason why when I talk about something good or bad, especially on Mead, I'll talk about Marvel or DC there. I know those subjects. I know them very well. I mean, I know them the best, but I know enough that I can come from a position of knowledge and experience and be confident in my positions. you're not going to see me make a video to Velma or Rachel Zegler. I don't have the need or desire to cover every single thing on planet. Sure, it's where the algorithm's going, and shout out to my buddies who make money for it. Hey, I'm a capitalist. If you're making money from it, go for it. Go for it. I'm encouraging you to go for it. But for me, I want to talk about the things that I feel confident in talking about. For me, I'm not going to be a super normie on things that I have no knowledge of on a surface level. In some cases, less on a surface level. What's up, Danny? How you doing, buddy? The road to wisdom.
Well, I think the thing is, Nick. What happens is your heart isn't in it, and it winds up showing through in the finished product, in the video itself, and more importantly, it's like it won't feel right for the audience.
Yeah, and I don't want to do that, and I don't want to do that. Like, will I probably let's put it this way. I haven't covered any Marvel stuff from D Plus in years. If I do ever, keywords ever, it will probably be Daredevil, just because I know who Daredevil is. I have literally hundreds of Daredevil comics. Literally. I know the character in and out. I'd probably beg Razorfist to come on, talk an episode with me. And if I'm going to try a new one, it's got to come from a position of knowledge and passion. Not just because everyone else is talking about it. It's got to really be something I'm feeling. At least when I was into The Mandalorian 4 years ago, it was at a time where I invested because I knew Star Wars. Thank you. It's got to come from the heart. It's got to be sincere. I don't talk about everything just to be a part of the conversation. I don't need to be a part of every conversation. When I'm a part of something, like The Crow on Comics Division's Thursday Night Throwdown last week. Sorry, The Crow.
Yeah.
The Crow. I love the Brandon Lee movie. Love it. Love it. Love it. Yeah. One of my all-time favorites. That remake. That was the first time, as I mentioned on the show, I had lost my mind about something like that in years because how everything else, I'm beyond the point of apathy. That remake should have not been made, period. So, and you know what? They reap what they sow for losing all that money for making that trash.
There's like 5, 6, there's about 1,000 different ways they could have done that movie instead.
Right.
But they chose not to.
They tried with doing sequels for the first movie. It didn't work.
Even though they didn't work, at least it wasn't Eric Draven.
Hey, and that's the thing, because a lot of people that even hate the sequels, if you watch the television show Stairway to Heaven, like a lot of people didn't mind that one because that one was telling not only another Crow story in the modern era, but they were telling all of these historical references of all of these other Crows in the past. Right. And you could, that's the other thing. I feel horrible for Skarsgård because he's an incredible actor.
Good actor. Yeah.
He's great. And for have something like this, to have him get cast in a role where it did not matter. They could have done the most perfect job of this movie on the planet. And it did not matter because the love for Brandon Lee and his legacy in The Crow was something they should have never touched to begin with. Because honestly, I saw the first trailer. The trailer wasn't bad. It was actually halfway decent. But my problem right from the very get-go was, if you want to do another Crow movie, just like you can do with a Ghost Rider, tell a different story. You can still take the spirit of the Crow.
Not Eric Draven.
Just do not do the Eric Draven story, and you can do it. But everybody thinks they can reinvent the wheel, that they can do a new version of it that everybody's going to love. And once again, they do not know how to read the fucking room. And my favorite part has been the OG director just absolutely roasting them over this because they spent $50 million on this movie. They barely cracked 5 million on the opening weekend. I mean, this thing made a few 100,000 in their Thursday night previews. This thing was a disaster from the get-go. The trailer got ratioed right from the get-go. The comments were just roasting it left and right. Like this thing was doomed to fail right from the beginning. And it's sad to say, but that's just the way it goes. Like I said, I like Skarsgård a lot. I don't know shit about Twigs, but Skarsgård's great, so it sucks.
Yeah, you reap what you sow. There's no sympathy felt. That's Brandon Lee's legacy. The Crow defined a generation. It defined not just for movies, but for music. you could see one shot, one photo of that movie, and right away, like, that's the Crow. That's how distinctive it was. Even if you didn't like it, even if you didn't watch it, it's how distinctive it was.
Well, I mean, think about
insane how culturally
like
relevant the culture.
Like one of the cosplay is one of the most
my
obvious
God.
cosplays you see.
I did that one in high school.
Yep,
dude.
I did that
wanted
about
to-
2 years ago for Halloween.
A whole
on
generation
YouTube.
of dudes wanted to be the Crow, and a whole
Oh, yeah.
generation of ladies wanted to be with the Crow.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Yeah.
Then you had shops like Hot Topic that were basically modeled after the Crow.
Oh,
Wrestlers changed their entire persona based
Yeah.
off of the Crow.
Yep.
Sting anyone?
Yep,
You guys remember
Sting, quite literally.
Do you guys remember the episode of South Park where Satan threw the Halloween party?
Yeah.
One of his rules was no one else gets to dress like the Crow. It's only me.
That's funny. That is great.
Oh, look, yeah. See, Muhammad. See, he knows.
Yep, exactly.
Then
Muhammad Says knows. Everybody
somebody
knows
gets
that.
in the party like the Crow, and he has to go as Britney Spears the rest of the night.
Brandon Lee, oh man. And here's the thing, even if he had never died, his performance in that movie is still awesome. Like,
Yeah.
he was a guy who was a superstar on the rise. And if you're in the chat, all of you, if you have somehow not seen Showdown World Tokyo, you should, straight up. That was one of the movies he did right before The Crow. You watch that movie, and you can say, this guy's going to be a star. He was one of those guys where he had that it factor. He had the looks, he had the name, he had the freaking fight scenes, he had the great one-liner dog. He could have carried the action hero name into another generation. And obviously, I tend to theorize in my head. This is my conspiratorial mind speaking, but I think when he died, the term action hero was slowly starting to fade with him. Obviously, there are some movies that came out after, like what's that one? Con Air. And then you have obviously some of the Bond movies, but as far as action hero as a whole, I feel like a lot of it was tapered off with him because I think Brandon Lee was expected to be the next generation. And I think any idea of that kind of teetered off with his death. That's my whole theory.
Well, and that's the other thing too. It's like the director came out and said that movie is like essentially, especially with the way they had to finish it and everything else. Because like if you hear the stories of behind the scenes, like the stunt man that replaced Brandon Lee in that movie to finish that movie off spent weeks studying all the footage from Brandon Lee that they had already shot in that movie, studying to learn it to walk and move exactly like Brandon Lee so they could make it perfect so nobody would ever know. Because the director was like, this movie is a tribute to the incredible potential that man had and the promise that we had in his. That's why we finished it. That's why it had part of the reason why it resonates, because it is a tribute to what could have been and what we lost because of that tragedy.
But guys, have you ever seen the interview that the Steven Seagal did where he's high on coke talking about when Brandon Lee died? He's like, yeah, the director called me and told me, we don't know what happened. We shot the gun at him and he fell dead. And I was like, yeah, you need to check. You will find a bullet. And Steven Seagal is really high on coke and he's still with the coke on the nose. And he's talking about the night and he's like, yeah, I told them it was a bullet. And yeah. And the whole interview is basically him telling them there was a bullet and they called me. Yeah. And at the end is, and they called me the next day and they asked me, how did you know? And I was like, it was a gun. You need to watch that interview, man.
What? That's hilarious.
There was a little joke from Martial Arts and Rapid Fire where Brandon Lee fights using the progressive fight styles his father sport in chronological. What? Holy shite. That's nuts, Steve. Nah, Brandon Lee's legacy, unmatched. I truly believe he would have brought us another decade of great action heroes and maybe other guys who have been inspired by him and would have followed in his footsteps. Because seriously, it was like the perfect step. New guy comes on the block, does a few movies. Oh, hey, now you get to be in this other movie with a guy who's already established. Dolph Lundgren. Get to make this movie and then move on to something you get to headline your own. The Crow. Then he dies. He had the perfect springboard to becoming. He should have been the biggest fucking name on the planet. What's up, Justin? He should have been the biggest fucking name on the planet. And I still think to this day, if he were alive, he would have at least had a decade and a half under the sun where Brandon Lee would have been the go-to.
He and Keanu Reeves will have been the stars, man.
Oh, yeah.
And 5 picoseconds have seen the interview because he's quoting the interview on the chat.
Speaking of Keanu Reeves, Berserker was really good this week.
Oh,
The
you
Lost
already
Book
got
of
it?
B, the one shot, yeah. It's somewhere around here, but I'm telling you right now, Berserker, the Lost Book of B, was really good, really brutal. It was good to have Keanu and Matt Kint co-writing and Ron Garney back on art. And dude, it's barbaric. It is brutal. Seriously, it is so good. It's good. You just gotta read. And Garney, man, I've been rereading his Daredevil run with Charles Soule in recent years, and it's just like, man, Garney is such a talent. I feel like that guy should be up there with the biggest names of the biggest names because he's absolutely got the skill, and Berserker showcases why he's that damn good. And trust me, you'll get a lot of brutality in this Berserker one shot. So, look, we got a new subscriber in Xtarlina27. Thank you. Do appreciate that. Do you guys got one other thing you want to talk about before we call it a night?
Well, we do have a super chat.
And
we
got a member chat.
Xtarlina is one of my. We were talking. She's the one that I was talking about the Transformers comic to today. She reached out to me on Twitter to find out where the show was and everything else.
Nice.
So yeah, she was the one. She's like, "Wait, there's a place where they talk about good comics." I'm like, "Yeah, you got to come hang out on my buddy's channel, 32 Flavors of Nick Weiser. You're gonna love Friday nights." So yeah, glad she's here.
Thank you. Mohammed said, who's been a member for 3 months, says check out Vampire Hunter D and Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust.
Dude,
Read Spider-Man and more Silver Age. DC, I'm watching a lot of One Piece, man. See, Conquest here, he's got the right mentality. He's looking for the riches and saying, I'm gonna go off swimming into the ocean with all this greatness. And so he is. He's somewhere lost in the abyss at sea, enjoying it. And you know what? I hope you swim for even longer. Yeah, thank you, Steve. He would have been diabolically huge had he lived.
Yeah,
not even close.
You know the story behind
somebody was talking about that in the chat earlier.
You know why Vampire Hunter D is only on English, right?
No.
It was not rushed. Yeah, I think it was either on a convention or a really big event that they needed to premiere the movie. So they just rushed the English dub and that's it. They never finished the Japanese dub. If you get the animation on Japan, you get the English dub. That's it.
And if it was that was for what, Bloodlust?
No, for the original.
Really?
Yeah,
that's why
they had to later edit it and finish it, but they rush it, and the original version is only on English.
Well, I mean, it's such a shame ultimately because there's I think 20 at least 19, maybe 27 different Vampire Hunter novels that are out there, and of all those, we've only gotten 2 adapted into a film.
Yep,
which fantastic, anime to check out for anyone who wants to kind of check out something a little more mature. You kind of getting into that sort of more adult atmosphere of that kind of 80s aesthetic.
Hey,
he is all style.
Nick, let me ask you, Ironcaster, have you ever watched Bastard?
A bit, yes.
Okay, yeah, that one I watched a few episodes of that the other night for the first time because I was just looking for something new because we finished what's the Dining in Dungeons? We finished the 3rd season of that one. That one's great. I can't wait for the 4th season. Yeah, I found that one and I'm like, yeah, if you want something that's edgy and a little more adult with still some of that anime humor to it, like that one, don't watch that one with your children in the room. Let's just say that.
Well, the one unfortunate thing with Bastard, and here we are just throwing the word around, is the fact that a lot of the characters, a lot of like the main character of Dark Schneider, D. Snyder's.
It's all metal stuff. It's a metal references. Exactly. I love it.
So much of all that is named after American metal from like the 80s, and you just you unfortunately kind of lose that in translation because of licensing. That's the one complaint I can really have
about it.
Yeah.
Well, the chicks are smoking hot in it, and and the transformations are great. It's pretty crazy. Yep. It's hilarious. And the guy really is a bastard. Like, he's a straight fucking dick, dude. It's hilarious. It is great.
Oh, Jesse, have you seen Claymore?
Yes. I have not. I think I've heard of that one, but I don't think I've seen that one.
Watch Claymore.
All right.
Oh yeah, Claymore is pretty good. It's like, what if Berserk was a chick?
Oh, nice. Yep. My kind of strong female. All right. Now we're talking.
Yeah, exact. I cannot spoil anything further than that.
Don't watch. Somebody already spoiled freaking Ace's death in One Piece for me. Don't spoil anything for me about these shows.
To be fair with that one,
I know it was harsh.
Also messed up with that one as well.
No. I'm talking about I'm talking about in the anime.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like there was a time in which like Netflix was like straight up having like that particular spoiler of like straight up on like some of this stuff with One Piece because of the way some other like little specials were being marketed.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I must have. I missed that part. Fortunately enough, it was because of somebody's birthday stream that they ruined it for me.
If you've got, so I've got one more suggestion for you, and then I'll let Nick get to his book. If you have not seen it yet, go watch Overlord.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's basically like a guy, like an end level like MMO player, like level 100, gets isekai'd into another world. Into his character's body. He has all his powers. This guy basically has.
Oh, I think I saw that one. I read the description on that one, I think. Yeah,
it's a guy who's walking around with like basically the powers of a god at his disposal, and he has this guild full of monsters like succubuses and werewolves and slimes, and basically they are all monsters. They want to now take over the world, and now he is the head of all of them, and he's just like, I was just an office worker, but now I'm basically being peer pressured into taking over the world.
I love it. I love it. That is great. I love it. And I do have I got a box in the mail today too. I have some books I can show off real quick too. But Nick's got something he wants to show off because I'm not going to show off all of mine because I got
not anything I'm going to show off. It's more of letting people know something we're going to be talking about next week for the first hour of the show.
Oh yeah.
So next week, you guys did a vote. And between Superior and Huck won. So we'll be talking about this the first hour of next Friday's show. Huck, read it. Mark Miller, Raphael Albuquerque. If you look at the number 78 on his jacket, obviously that's a nod to Superman, the movie from the year 1978.
Oh,
so
great.
this is basically a Superman archetype of character.
Right.
Very heroic, very fun. And this is such a fun character. So
Nick, when did that one come out?
11 years ago. And this
okay, because I know I've read some of the Huck. Go ahead, sorry.
This is one of those comics that Clobby actually got the art book for. And he was like, "Oh, did you get the art book?" I'm like, "You bastard. No, I didn't." He's like, "You should got the art book." I'm like, damn it, I did not need to get showed up by you for the 900th time. But so seriously, guys, you got 1 week, read Huck. It's so much fun. It is feel good. It's heartfelt, and the fact that he had this character who just does these really simple deeds. And the volume, this one volume, because there will be more. Finally, 10 years later, volume 1, book 1, all American.
Oh hell yeah! That's almost as good as hearing Superman say "Truth, Justice, and the American Way." Yeah, that's great.
So we'll be talking about this for a first hour, and I want you all, as maybe in the chat, to raise because we're going to talk about it. It's diabolical. It's going to be huge. Okay. Yeah. August 2016. Okay. So by next year, it'll be 9 years, regardless. 2015. Okay. So next year, it will have been 10 years. So, anyways, that all said, guys, all good things must do come into an end because life has to go on, and I have to face plant because, well, Nick has work in the morning, but we can show off hauls. We can show off hauls, save it for next week after we talk Huck. We can do that. Yeah. We could talk about whatever is the current cool book that's cool, like Flash Gordon or Battle of the Blackstone. More of you in the chat that read the Battle of the Blackstone, that would be great. So we can talk about it right away. If not, we understand. But just saying, it'd be really awesome if you did. Just saying. That all said, shout out to Mike Barron for joining us tonight. Absolutely awesome. And shout out to Brett Cohen for the gifted memberships and the super chat. TZ for gifting his membership, and to Muhammad Said for his membership comment, and to the new subs. Hopefully, like what you saw, and I want you to come back next week for more. To our regulars, we had a lot of great regulars, and a lot of them who came back must have been because of good old Mike Barron. Come back for more. It's gonna be great, and alcohol will be had, and fun will be had. And we will continue the excellence to infinity and beyond. Let's see. I will definitely have a review for Battle of the Blackstone straight up next week. That'll come out. I got a rant video. It'd be any day now. And Toxic Tuesday will be off for a week, but the week after I'll be back with Fast Times at Ridgemont High. And of course, next week for Clobby's Comic Shop, we're talking Huck. So that's what's coming out on my side of the pond. I'm going to let these gentlemen plug their plugs, and we're going to say goodnight. And we'll start off with Ironcaster.
Well, folks, it's been a lot of fun. Nick, thank you as always for having me on. Sorry I couldn't quite make it, and I unfortunately missed Mike Barron, but that's how these things go. So you can find me tomorrow with T-shirt Historian for the Week in Geek, where we will no doubt be talking about Wizards of the Coast because they sure love to stick their foot to it each and every single week. Because what's a week without a WotC controversy?
Never going to happen.
No, but they are about the one company that seems to get in the news in the nerd sphere almost as much as Disney does with all of the Marvel Star Wars stuff. But anyway, so you can find me there. I will be on Monday night on my channel for the Mech Pit chat, where we are kind of delving into a little bit of positivity. And this week we're going to be talking about the upcoming, the newly premiering season of the next Kamen Rider. So let's kind of keep that positivity rolling and check out something rolling out of Japan on two wheels. Tuesday, I'll be on with Pops Stomoki for Talk Harbor. This week, we are getting into the classic Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a classic.
Well done, sir. I like it.
And fingers crossed, I'm trying to work it out with Brandon, the anime guy, because this week we're supposed to jump back into our One Piece discussions, and we have hit peak. Boys, let me tell you, if you haven't gotten there yet, you gotta come on the ride. Come aboard, and come aboard. Bring along all your hopes.
So many episodes.
It's really not that much. You cut out the opening, closing, that recap. It's like 18 minutes an episode.
Yeah, I saw the conversation you had with Yellow Flash on Twitter. Yes, Ironcaster, I saw that.
Because we are getting into Water 7 and Eddie's Lobby. The peak until we get to the next peak. The next absolute high of this series.
Eddie's Lobby's good. Oh, it's good.
Oh.
Guys,
you are so close of Mary
I want to live.
I want you to live. Okay. I want you to live. Well, thank you, Castle, for showing up. Your time is valued when you can be here. I know you got stuff to do, so I'll trust me. I'll get there some year, some century. But Caster, you have a excellent weekend. Battle of the Blackstone next week. Battle of the fucking Blackstone. Just saying. Have a great weekend, sir. We'll start off secondly with Pablo, or in this case, thirdly, because I already went.
Hey, well, obviously, videos on Minasech, things happening on Minasech Español, a lot happening in the background on Minasech. So stay tuned, pay attention, and it's going to be really, really fun. Also, I need to start prepping you guys for. We are close to the moment to read Hellboy, and I need you guys to understand what Torch of Liberty and the Lobster are, also Brutus and a couple of characters that are super zany, because they are too zany to be explained while we are reading the comic. And I mean it. The Hellboy universe and the Dark Horse universe is really complicated sometimes, but I'm getting anxious. It's already time for Halloween, and that means I can push Hellboy into you guys, and that makes me really, really happy because if we go at least not the 12 tomes, let's say we just go with tome 1 and 2. There's still 8 chapters in total of pure awesomeness. So I'm really happy that it's getting to the point where I can actually say, hey, we should do this. Really should do this. I want to do this so much.
He wants to do
And we will. We're going to do it. It's going to be diabolical. It's going to be gigantic. Okay? It's going to be huge.
Huge. It's gigantic. Gigantic.
Exactly that.
And keep making those Midnight's Edge videos. And then I'll see you next week. And also, have a magical weekend, sir.
You too, man.
And last but not least, the common nerd.
Yes, what's going on, guys? It was great to have Mark Barron on tonight. That's one of my favorite parts about this job because this is my full-time job, boys and girls. I am your blue-collar common YouTuber out here. But that was one of my favorite parts about this is having, I mean, to meet a legend and be able to talk to a legend like Mike Barron and all the things he's been responsible for that have shaped so many of our childhoods and like modern cinema and everything and modern television and cinema and everything else is just absolutely incredible. That was really dope. It's kind of one of them starstruck situations. It's like I want to give criticisms about your book, but like Mike Barron's here, and I'm like, well, I got to do it anyway. I got to be honest, and so we did. So that was an absolute blast. So thank you, Nick, for reaching out to him and having him on. That was so awesome. But yeah, boys and girls, I just crossed like 1,230 subscribers on the new YouTube channel. Come subscribe to that new one. The algorithm's hating me right now because I'm also a bad boy and do things that it doesn't like. So come love on me on my new channel. Over there. Let's get back to that 4,000 subscribers we were at before because this is my full-time job and we're trying to make sure we keep that alive. And I could not do that with all of the generous support of the fellowship. I have the best chat in the fellowship as far as I'm concerned. I know I love all you guys too, but those guys financially support me and pay my bills. So Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. I do the morning prep, which I cover all your pop culture and nerd news. We cut videos, we watch trailers, we cut shorts, we talk about all the crazy stuff. We have some great conversations. That's my favorite part. It's a one-on-one stream with me and my chat. I read all your guys' comments. We talk about all that kind of stuff. So if you want some personal attention from Common Nerd, come hang out on the Monday through Friday stream. Obviously, Friday nights, we're here over on Comic Shop Talk. Wednesday nights, I have my Winding Down Wednesday shows where next week we have C.S. Johnson on next week to come promote her new book, her New Jersey book over there. And then Saturdays, we've got some, my Saturdays aren't free yet, but they will be soon. And we're gonna start working on some stuff for that. But Sundays, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, we've got the Bible study. We're going through Chronicles right now. We got through all the really boring parts. We're getting some of the fun stories. Then Sunday nights at 7 p.m., another palate cleanser show. We do When Who Was Good with Mr. Gregory and our dear sweet Sunker Maidens. So if you like toxic females, come hang out with us and Sunker Maiden on Doctor Who stream. We're going through the Matt Smith years right now. It's absolutely incredible. You get to see the wonderful Carrie Gilliam, which you might not, if you don't know Doctor Who, you're going to know her from the MCU as the redhead that you only saw in blue makeup as Nebula. So you get to see her
Pond.
Yeah, exactly. Come on, Pond. You get to see her in all of her glorious redheadedness. And I put out videos all the time. I put out a bunch of shorts today. I put out a bunch of videos yesterday. I've got a bunch of stuff I recorded today that's coming out tomorrow and Sunday. So keep an eye out for that. Go leave comments. Show the algorithm that you love me and remind them that it's just a mathematical equation. We can beat it just like we can the stock market. So come check out my videos. Even if you only watch them for a minute, leave a like, leave a comment, tell them, hey, I saw you on Comic Shop Talk, or I saw you on Clobby's Clubhouse. And that I love the fact that you're there every week, and I'm going to help you out with just that, because that's, even if you can't support the channel financially, that's a great way to help out with all of that kind of stuff. So shout out to all my brothers on the panel. I absolutely love this show. I hate it when I miss it, and I'm so glad I got to be here for tonight to talk to Mike Barron and talk about Gooding a little bit tonight, because yeah, that's a blast. So cannot wait for next week. I will definitely be reading Huck, because I love that kind of stuff and I love those stories, and I cannot wait for that. So shout out to all of you beautiful, fabulous folks out in the chat. I dropped my link in the description. Come love me. Come love my subscribe button a little bit more than you already have. All right. Thanks, Nick. You guys are great. I love you. Have a good night.
Thank you. Have a great night and weekend, sir.
Bless
all right,
us.
human beings. As I end this stream, it's going to redirect you to Loki's Mornings of Mischief. So go give my brother in Valhalla a loud, resounding skull.